How's it going, everyone? I'm losing my hat, and welcome to another episode of No Excuses on YouTube.com. The favorite show hosts are still.
Venerian.
And Volcel, and we're all here at the same time for once to bring
Yeah.
you the latest news and games commentary for the week. Not that there really was any.
It's the
Everybody's anybody who is going to announce anything is going to announce it at the Dorito Pope show, not immediately before the Dorito Pope show. So yeah, there's not really much to report, but if you'd like to get involved with the show, you can do so by sending us email, noexcusesvtw@gmail.com, or you can follow us on the Twitter at noexcusesvtw, or you can join us in the Discord server, which you can get to by clicking on the link provided in the show description underneath the archive on YouTube.
Yes, indeed. So,
Yes.
on the show this week, we are playing some Gemshim, and before we jump into first week, what you call it? In Gemshim, you did not pull on the, or you did one pull on the Chaska banner, Fern. You did not.
I did one pull on the Chaska and I got big ups.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I think I've got everything I really want from that banner.
And you did not pull at all on the Chaska banner, right, Vol, and have no plans to?
I've sort of toyed with the idea of doing like just a cheeky YOLO 10 pull, but because it will just be pity towards whatever the next banner is that I pull on. They do commute, right? From one to the next.
As far as I know, they do.
Yeah, they do. They move across. So you can
but
you can pull to what you think the acceptable cost would be, and if you don't get it, just stop and keep that pity for the next banner.
Because I don't have any particular desire for Chaska, but I also don't really have any in Nemo units other than Jean. So, well, not built. And Jean's only sort of like pseudo built. But I don't have any strong desire to get Chaska. She certainly has her uses, but apparently she's got some pretty hefty drawbacks as well. I don't have any intention of pulling for her. Pulling on her banner, maybe one or two, but don't have any intention to pull for her.
Yeah, so I was in a similar boat and decided to conduct an experiment. I had a brief fit of madness this week that started this experiment. So I got my sister, who has no interest in this game whatsoever, and it's not even her account. And I budgeted 50 pulls. And she got her in 40.
Lol.
Nice.
You're really bad at saving, though.
I am.
Like, really bad.
But it was a scenario where I kind of want her just because I want my Airborne Second Amendment, but there's not a real reason to get her for the account. So I was like, okay, I'll throw 40. If I get her in 40, cool. If I don't, that's pity built for whatever I pull for next.
Yeah. Like, because she's an anime character and she's kind of wonky to fit into teams at the best of times, but I think the biggest reason to pull for her is for her zooms.
Yeah, she do have gun.
She does have the gun.
So obviously mine is not max level yet because I don't have enough local specialty in my world. But farming her up today was the background project that I have not mentioned to 80.
You also apparently hate having Mora as much as you hate having Primogems.
Oh, I did a crap load of ley lines and banked myself up to like 5 million Mora before these YOLO pulls. So I'm okay on Mora for once.
Enough for like half a skill.
Yeah, I'm okay on Mora for once and can 888 her if I get her boss drops, which unfortunately she needs Daddy. And I have killed Daddy exactly once.
I mean, I'll help you if you need help, but that fight's an absolute nightmare. Realistically, we'll almost certainly need her for something in the future. There's going to be probably a few characters that will need her mats because she's so late in the cycle. But I don't know, maybe we could do that one on the stream, but it's not a fun fight. I got one shot so many times when I did it.
Yeah. So Chaska was not part of my game plan really. It was a nice to have if I get it, but I'm not gonna fret over it if I don't. But
who are the 4 stars on that banner anyway?
Oreron, Sucrose, and I forget who. Barbara. Your girl.
Yep.
The one, the only, the immortal Idol of Mondstadt.
Yeah,
Have you got
sucrose
her
probably isn't a
maxed?
bad one to pick up if you can.
My sucrose has been maxed since like early days.
Ah,
Because
well,
for
there you
some
go.
reason, every time I pulled on any banner, I would get sucrose. Didn't matter whether she was rate up, whether it was a limited banner, it would just be sucrose.
Yeah, I maxed my
Fair enough.
sucrose super early too. She was on some banner I was pulling on early.
So
Yeah.
what's my sucrose at?
So,
Uh,
Genshin characters are not as bad to farm for in real time if you didn't pre-farm them, as long as you got the Mora and the EXP books to level them up. But at least compared to the other Hoyo games. But yeah, I did not have a plan here, so she's got leftover Obsidian Codex that and the crafted bow from Natlan because I'm not pulling for her weapon. But she's a tool in the toolbox we can whip out. Maybe she'll be useful on some bosses sometime. And I can exercise my Second Amendment in the air.
All of the footage that I've seen of her performing well has all been in context of just killing trash, like generic trash.
Yeah, she's
I
real good
haven't
at that.
seen I haven't seen any real interesting demonstrations of her doing stuff that is relevant to like meta clearing, and it's not like I place a premium on that or anything. It's just that that's sort of the measure of how interesting a character's mechanics are in a lot of cases, unless your name happens to be Bennett, in which case your mechanics are boring as hell, but for some reason you're still meta. But
You are the reason we have Circle Impact.
Yeah,
yes.
but yeah, they put a lot of work into her design, her animations, and her this, that, and the other, and her abilities are interesting in a nominal way. But in terms of like what can you actually do with them, well, all you can do is make modest rainbow numbers, not even giant ones.
No, she strikes me as like a premier. I just want to go around and do the easy crap in the world while exploring character. But that's about all her utility is going to extend to, unless there's just some scenario with certain enemy types that are going to just make her utility and damage numbers bonkers. But I don't think one exists right now, or if it does, I don't know what it is.
I did think carefully about pulling for her, but my sort of most of my premier characters that I use on the regular, like a preponderance of them, are Geo and Dendro.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just not going to have that many slots most of the time.
Yeah, and she wants a full Pesh team to take advantage of her, which Pyro, Hydro, Electro, Cryo. I mean, maybe you could use her as the on-fielder for your Sitlali team.
I mean, in theory you could, but what would you accomplish by doing that? Since Sitlali's specialty is to shred Hydro and Fire defense.
Oh, does she specialize in those two?
Yeah.
I don't know.
She's built for freeze and melt.
Yep. But
or at least that's what CBT leaks say. Like I'm not in closed beta. I don't know exactly what's actually going on, but that's what people are saying, is that she specializes in those particularly.
So yeah. Right. I was pitching the idea to Fernanval we might save our primos for Mavwika when she comes out, and I was pitching to them we could try and do pulls on stream for it, and you can see us get angry
so what's your
or
primo
happy.
count doing? What's your primo count doing presently? Now that you've wasted a bunch more.
Since I dumped like 6K
You've
more.
Got a patch to recover.
I'm at 12.2. I've got 2 banners plus a week. Well, 2 banners.
12.2 is not how you save, sir. How do you have any money in your bank account?
Well, like... there's just nothing to buy in real life other than food.
I guess that's true. Not until the real estate market calms down. At least you're going to be going into 4 years of a recovering economy.
That is true. We'll see what that does for us on all fronts in the US. I'm actually quite excited
if he follows through on his tariffs idea, my country's economy is going to get completely bent over, because we rely on beef exports to US for a certain part of our economy.
But this is just further proof that the desire sensor is real.
Yes.
So you got your sort of your neutral party with a perfect disinterest in the result to do
Yes.
your pulling.
Yes.
I think you may have cracked the system.
I mean, I've pulled on stream one time. I used one summon ticket, and I got the 5-star I was going for on the very first ticket. That was when I pulled Amakusa Shiro on FGO.
Oh, didn't I
in
push the
one
button
ticket.
though? Through the
Well,
screen?
you can't push. You did push the button through the screen. This was on a rantathon.
So you had help.
Yes.
Yes.
But
All right.
what you call it?
Let us. Shall we go and find a whale?
Okay, so you've got 12.2. Fern has got how much banked presently? Given his
Not
habits.
not much. I have
I have-
maybe one pull.
I have 51.8k.
Yeesh.
I take my
lot.
waifus seriously.
You do.
I try to keep enough in there for a 50-50 on any given banner, and for an aimed for banner, I try to get guarantee for.
I try and keep enough that I've got I can definitely get this character for realsies in the bank, just in case they release a waifu I absolutely have to have, like Sidlali in this case.
Yeah.
Like Malvoik is just kind of whatever. I'm pulling on her because she's an Archon. So, I guess I kind of need her to make sure that my account's power level stays up to par. But hopefully I'll be able to get her in a timely fashion so that I have the resources left for Sidlali and maybe her signature, depending on what it does.
Yeah. So we'll see. That's something I was toying with. But let's jump into weeks and Fern, see if you can trigger a whale from the adventure guide, because the only way to unlock it is to finish Fontaine's story.
I managed to unlock it by clicking on the thing. Or at least I think I did. But I cannot initiate it. Although we might have to actually go up to the thing.
Will that work?
We can
I think
try.
you need, in order to use it there, don't you need to manually unlock it?
Watch it.
I think the menu is the only option available.
Yeah,
until
which
you...
let me unlock that.
I know roughly where it is without checking your entire.
I don't think it even appears on the map until you've unlocked it.
Yeah.
It won't turn the color that's usable.
The other question is, even show up without all the statues of the 7 found, which would involve a whole lot of account jumping. We can help you with the smaller bosses, but I would strongly advise, until you get whale unlocked, spend the extra resin to do whale.
All right. Yeah, I don't particularly need anything from the weekly bosses at this point, other than the universal stuff.
But yeah, you definitely want to try rolling for dream.
Well, I mean, what does Kanech use? What does Shalonen use? What are the characters using on the regular?
Kanech uses Daddy.
Yes, they both use Natlan stuff.
No, Daddy's not Natlan. Daddy's
he's
worse.
not. He's Fontaine, and Daddy is quite the fight. Quite the fight indeed.
Oh dear.
I got bullied. I'm still suffering the trauma.
You got spanked by Daddy?
Oh yeah, he's big on giving you whoopings.
It's a fight and a half, that one. My goodness.
Yeah, let's not do that now.
You need to do Arlecchino's story quest to unlock Daddy.
All right. Ooh, Dent Culus. All right, well, let's jump into weeks then. And I've been doing a few... Oops. You saw nothing?
I can tell you what some of your characters need, because not actively. Can't help you with Bennett. Can't help you with Chang Lang.
Oh, right. Shalonen doesn't work at the moment. Since I jumped off a cliff with no stamina. Yeah, and we've also got 2 Geos, a Dendro, and an Animo. So Shalonen don't work.
Don't worry, it'll be fine. What about the one, the only, the immortal Idol Mondstadt?
I will have to change her out for the Idol of Mondstadt.
What does
So
the
yeah,
idol Mondstadt need?
I think she needs dog.
Let me
Doggo.
see. Character. Do I have everything I need?
Mostly needs mushrooms. Yeah, she needs dog.
Yep.
Xi
But yeah,
Jinping
she also
needs
mostly
dog.
needs mushrooms.
Fischl. I guess that Fischl needs dog.
Shall we go do dog then?
So we can do dog, and we can go bop a child just to kill a boss.
And let's face it, he deserves it.
I think he enjoys it a little bit too much for my taste.
Maybe a little.
The Genshin meme guy came out with his Zelonin.exe video.
Oh
and
no.
every time at the end of those videos, he has to have the obligatory child murder. And he's gotten very creative in the ways he has the cast bully child.
So yeah. Let us jump into. I guess I'll keep it on going with the Gemshins. Try not to hiccup too much. Yeah, been taking it a bit slower this time around, and been doing Sumeru a little bit at a time. And coming from Inazuma and the pit, you notice the difference coming to Sumeru.
Yeah,
everything just kind of takes a step up.
They found the budget.
They found the budget. Paimon's voice actress really gets into her stride.
Mm-hmm.
Well, think about the context, right? Inazuma sucked because they were all working from home. Right?
Yes.
But so was everybody else in the world, bored at home with nothing to go out and spend their money on, and a lot of people found Genshin in that time.
Yes. So suddenly, Genshin and Hoyo in general has a whole lot of money. So yeah, just everything across the board takes a big step up for it, which is good because I'm glad that they got all that money they got from that they invested back into the game.
You might want to tap Statue of the Seven before you come play with Doggo, or really believe in Barbara.
Oh, you can always believe in Barbara.
I believe in my Barbara. I don't know if I believe in your Barbara.
My Barbara's still a bit underbuilt. Alternately, I could believe in Sweet Madame.
Good.
Not much of a roast chicken person. I feel like I got my share of roast chicken when I was growing up.
As long as it's not pork chops.
Chicken is cheap. Pork is not.
Once upon a time, pork chops weren't expensive. When I
Pork
was
chops
very
could be
young.
really cheap, yeah. Not anymore.
I remember back in the day, like lamb used to be considered poor people's meat here.
It did. Now that's the meat that sponsors that incredibly elaborate ad every year on Australia Day. It's kind of become a fixture, actually. Barbara,
I'm going to die. Please, auto attack something. I need my health back. I'm not getting
Barbara,
any heals.
fix
This is
it.
not here we go. Tiny trickle healing. Tiny trickle healing.
Tiny healings. Also, the ices.
Oh, I'm gonna die. At least Doggo's not interested in me at all. Oh, thank the heavens. I've got some health again.
Barbara fixed it.
I just can't seem to get Klee to be good. No matter what I do to her gear or what. She's just...
Just Klee.
Just Klee.
I use her a lot because I like her as a character. She's just fun. It's like the terrorist of Mondstadt.
She brings the booms.
And also it's supplying fire for your Chaska, so I'm going to consider it to be worthwhile.
Oh, okay. He's immune to hydro now, but it still causes a healing effect, so I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah, Barbara doesn't care.
Barbara don't care.
As long as her bubbles connect with something, she will heal.
Good grief.
There we go.
That was messy.
Please, come on, Dream Solvent.
Martin is currently invisible on my.
That's
see him.
weird. I've got the ring of Boreas. That's good. Okay. Let's get Bully Child.
I need to heal first.
I gotta remember where it is. Oh, right down there. So yeah, I think I'm well into the third act of Sumeru now. So we're basically gearing up to go and beat up the Academia.
Noble endeavor.
Yes, because they are kind of jerks. But it's a lot actually having two edgelords on the same team.
I wouldn't call
This is yeah, El Haytham and shit. Now I'm blanking on his name all of a sudden.
I know. Probably who
Sign
Who
it.
are we
Thank
talking about here?
But
I don't
call...
think of either of them as edgelords. Like, El Haytham is just a cold fish.
He really is.
And Sino has exactly one passion in life.
It's card games.
No,
Yes.
it's terrible puns.
Oh, dad jokes and
Dad
card games.
jokes. Yeah, this is main story quest Sino, who is basically serious and has absolutely no sense of humor.
As soon as he starts showing up in side quests and in character story quests, all that goes out the window.
Suddenly, he still has no sense of humor, but he tries.
I was completely indulged. I also have my traveler treat Genius Invocation like it is the most important thing in any situation. I actually hate the game. I don't play it at all, but I have my character behave like it is the most important thing so that Sino has a friend.
He's found the only other person who seems to care about the game.
I'm hanging out in front of Childs.
Oh, hey, there's rocks over here. Hang on. I found secret rocks. Also, Whopper Flower.
We're doing child. I'm definitely just going to hide behind the jade screen.
I'm gonna.
What are you doing, Fern?
Treasure.
Yeah, Fern is still invisible to me. Oh, there he is.
Well, Fern, I just saw Fern like randomly going to various places, and I tried to follow him, and I'm like, but
yeah, don't
he's
do
just
that.
like swinging his sword at rocks and stuff. Like,
I saw Barbara appear when she did the skill animation, and now I just see an invisible Barbara with the singing circle.
Oh, no. So you can see Barbara.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can see Barbara. Kanisha's invisible.
Kanish. That's really weird.
stealth mode.
Yes. That's right. I'll fix it. You can see a hole.
Okay, we're gonna go with the Zero Synergy team. Playing with a new
Yeah, why
character.
not?
Just for fun.
I'm gonna loiter behind the shield while you guys do all the work.
Probably our highest source of damage output.
I'm 4-star with the lowest attack of any 4-star in the game.
I'm doing Kanich with no burning, so
It is.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna stand here. I'm too rich to have to do work, so I'm just going to run in circles while sheltering.
It is child.
He got too close to the shield. Put up a new shield. Hello.
Here you go.
Where's the whale?
Didn't do that till phase 3, I don't think.
Okay.
Oh no, child can summon the whale in this fight if you are really, really bad at it.
Oh, can he? Okay.
He has an attack in this phase that once I think he has to mark somebody and be below a certain health threshold.
Lol. Try to shoot me through the shield. Lol. Oh, okay, he just dashed through the shield. Okay. I get the picture.
Enough of your shenanigans.
See if we can get a whale preview.
No, I think we might beat him up too quick for that.
Well,
I could hold off.
Yeah, I stopped attacking him. I'm gonna get marked on purpose. See if that makes him summon a whale.
We can see if he summons a whale.
Whale.
Oh. There it is.
Whale.
Well,
I died.
I got one shot.
Barbara, fix it.
I forgot how dangerous the whale is.
The whale is
Like
the whale.
I usually never see it, so you're on your own, Fern. He's only got a little bit of health left.
There we go.
Did you get him? Okay.
Oh, we spawned back up here.
Just okay, so waiting to see the whale just because generally a bad idea. I keep forgetting that its actual hitbox is enormous compared to its actual size.
Yeah.
Nice.
My character's not even level 90 yet, so she got deleted.
Also to my
Oh, cool.
character, but my character's also a 4-star, so 4 stars, roughly speaking, are about only 75% as durable as a 5-star. And as a 5-star who isn't built for defense or tanking or anything like that, like they are roughly 75% as tough as a glass cannon 5-star. So, yeah, rough.
Yeah.
Although my Yunjin can survive like nothing else. She scales off defense, so all of her gear's got defense on it.
Defense scale is no joke, man.
Oh, whoops.
Not as tough as my Shalonen, but pretty close for a 4-star.
Zalonin can tank the one-shot mechanic of the current boss at my world level. the new 40 resin boss that I had to farm to get Shaska up to this point.
I haven't attempted it or even seen it. I don't have an on-field set for my Yunjin. She actually loses power the longer she's on field because that's how I built her.
Okay, so
All right.
you're in Sumeru, 2 edgelords.
Yep. So, well, the first act is the ultimately culminates in the time loop, which, like, I figured out what was going on.
Talk about stuff now.
Yeah, you can. So yeah, it's like you can figure out what's going on with the time loop pretty early on, but the fact that how well it was done.
Yeah.
Like, even though you figured it out, it's like the suspense.
Well, it's not just that; it's the sheer contrast in quality of storytelling. The way they relate what is happening in Inazuma versus the way they relate what is happening in Sumeru. Like, I don't even know if Sumeru is any good because the contrast was so strong that I was immediately sucked in.
Yeah. So just the quality of the writing is just that next level.
It's the first region where they really managed to attach you to non-player character NPCs.
Mm-hmm.
Fairly well. You got Junior Zard.
I did not expect to give a toss about Junior Zard, but she sort of forces herself on you.
Yeah, I thought she was just going to be kind of a one and done. Oh, okay, here's this sick lady. Now she's gone. Okay, fine. Let's move on. No,
she's
consistently reappears in events ever since as well.
Yeah, anything time something happens in Sumeru, I imagine she'd turn up.
She's basically joined at the hip with Daya.
She is.
The shippers have had an absolute party with that one.
Aren't they like functionally sisters? Oh, that wouldn't stop them.
Yeah.
That would not stop them, no.
We're talking about the wretched hive of scum and villainy that is current era internet.
I got a teleport point up near what I assume is the whale. Echoes of Deep Tides.
I have no idea.
I mean, you can go up there and try and touch it, but I don't think it's going to work.
No, that's not the whale. Pale Forgotten Glory. No, that's not whale.
Where the whale
one?
should be, I see no domain on your map.
Okay.
No, this is this one is Petrichor, isn't it?
That one there is Petrichor, yeah.
Okay, Petrichor. Petrichor. Where's
What
the...
is that?
Oh, that's the wrong one as well.
No, so that's not it. So, okay, I guess whale is invisible to me.
I don't know where whale is.
Yeah,
It's underwater in some nondescript location near the coast.
yeah, it's in the ballpark of between Fontaine and the fountain.
Okay.
But literally, you just have a big old blank spot there. No domain.
I have not done anything at all in Fontaine.
And you oughtn't, because it will try and force its stories on you, given half a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would advise.
Natland's tried as well, but I've avoided the worst of them.
Natland is way less aggressive than Fontaine. Fontaine will just
Yeah.
freaking kidnap you.
Oh,
and I don't want that.
the new zone in Natland will, the new zones plural. Whenever you go to a statue of a 7, it's going to kidnap you.
It's already done that to a degree. Oh yeah, there's a bulge out there now.
A bulge? Like
Bulge.
David Bowie?
Maybe not quite that aggressive.
Yeah, I will go underwater and see, but I doubt it. Try to find it. And that way you don't have to accidentally trigger anything.
Yeah, I don't want to go up there unless I absolutely can't have to. Alternatively, we just do a different world boss.
Yeah, if you've got access to one.
Let's see. What's that? Shadow of Another World is...
Whale.
That's the whale. Narukami Island is... Fire.
Wait, can I not swim in Fern's world?
Because I haven't unlocked swimming, so probably not.
No, you have. I'm swimming. I'm underwater. I had to get pretty far out.
I must just be in a weird place.
Yeah, I had to get pretty far out from that base teleport point to start swimming.
All right. We can go do Dvalin, or we can go and do who's in Narukami Island, whoever's there.
Dvalin is special. He's the only boss you can't do in co-op.
Oh, right. Of course not. So yeah.
Do you have Raiden Shogun unlocked?
No, I think you need to do her part 2 for that, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't done her part 2 yet.
Definitely can't do that one in co-op because it's got domain.
Yeah. I have such a severe backlog of content in this game.
Do you have Senora?
I do have Senora.
Okay.
So let's go smack a witch.
We're really going to crack the seal on Senora, huh?
Uh-huh.
She's another one who kind of deserves it.
Get your barber ready.
I think I might bring Alonin because I'm going to need more heals.
Hang on, I'll turn into...
The Senora Synonymous was just constantly taking obnoxious amounts of damage.
Yes, she is. Because she fills the arena with rubbish.
Okay, Fern, if you got Barbara, I'll bring Milani. That'll give me the Hydra buff.
That seems like a terrible idea. Do you know why?
Why?
Because Shaki is going to really love those totems at the edge of the room.
It's okay as long as I don't bump the totems on the way to building 3 stacks on Signora. So I just have to be very, very careful with my surfing.
I didn't warn you.
Can we start this even though Vol's not here?
Yeah. But you can start it across the world.
I'll get captured by your,
You'll get yoinks.
your invite.
All right. Let's fight the crazy lady.
Signora's an older boss compared to Mualani. So with Salonin's debuff and the Hydra buff,
My
should
Salonin
explode.
is built to do no personal damage to speak of, so it's all down to you.
She should explode, assuming Sharky behaves. It is
You
a flat.
assume too much.
It is a flat arena.
Oh yeah, she's kind of melting.
Yeah, now we gotta wait on Sharky though. So you can expedite this process by popping fire crystal things to make a fire thing spawn.
Yeah.
And
Isn't it
grab.
supposed to make her deal less damage when she pops out as well?
It might, but the important thing
At
here.
this point, it doesn't matter.
The important thing here is finding the fire butterflies and throwing them at her what you call it.
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Pop.
I'm dead.
Pop.
Oh, Fern. So just a heads up, you would leave at least one of them alive so that you can get the frosty buff off.
Yeah, you just got me killed. Thanks.
Oh, all right.
I'll just sit it out.
Oh no, you're back.
Hey,
Welcome back.
I rezzed with 1/3 health.
Back for phase 2.
Oh, we got whipped.
I've got no energy, so I can't do anything.
Hang out by this thing. Play. Oh no.
No, Kanich, stop shooting the wrong thing.
Oh, Natland characters.
Yeah. He's he loves to shoot those pylons.
Don't worry, you can count on Ahua.
Aho's doing whatever.
There's a reason neither me nor Vol farmed this boss solo ever.
Where'd she go? Come back, lady.
He's being a tornado.
Yeah,
fire.
after about 50 or 40% HP, she just goes untargetable. Once my Navia got built, it became a game to see if we could kill her, get rid of that last 50% HP before she started that.
Nope. She's gonna go spinny spin spin. There we go.
Just needed a baby Sharky bite.
This is one of the other crimes I think of Inazuma is just completely removing Senora from the plot without any kind of real catharsis.
Yeah, when playing through Inazuma, I got the feeling that she was supposed to be a lot more prominent.
She just shows up at the end and then cocks it.
Yeah, smacking her around at that point was still cathartic, but that's mostly because of what she did in Mondstadt more than anything else.
She doesn't have any meaning as a character.
No.
Like, you don't actually feel like you managed to bring down one of the harbingers. Not just because Raiden Shogun finishes there for you, but because she didn't really accomplish anything much harbingery. She sort of shows up to take the credit in the end at Mondstadt, and then
runs away with the Gnosis, and that's about it.
Yeah, unceremoniously gets removed.
Yeah, like Child has a better payoff, and even he was still kind of feeling a bit flat.
I don't know if there's a reason for it. Maybe there's a reason for it because I don't know the original opera that they were all from.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Senura's supposed to get an unceremonious exit stage left. Because all the harbingers are named, all of the harbingers are named after characters from a particular opera, although I don't remember which one. Which is why they've got all such funky Italian names.
Yes.
Or Spanish name. I don't know about Romance languages, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you finished running around Sumeru. And
yep, I'm still doing the desert bit. I'm actually starting to run into the Doctor more and more. I heard that he was called the Doctor, and I was expecting a Plague Doctor design, and I was not disappointed.
He's probably the most villainous of them.
He's different.
Because the thing that gradually emerges as you go along is that the Tsaritsa doesn't really exert a lot of control over her harbingers. She more or less lets them do whatever they please, but that means that some of them are just sort of like relatively, at least from their point of view, noble, except that they've got something that needs the Sarex's endorsement to accomplish, and other ones that are just like absolute scumbags.
Yeah.
You have a good mix of ones that may not necessarily view their actions as good in air quotes, but they're not going to go out of their way to cause undue trouble, and then you have just the outright villain ones.
Yeah. So
I actually really
Yeah.
like the one that's been in Natland so far.
nice.
I was not impressed with the camera cutaway when he takes his mask off.
Oh yeah,
You've just set up information that Traveler has that the player doesn't have, and I don't really like that.
yeah.
Like we've got enough of those already.
I am
Yeah.
sure you're going to show us at some point. Just there's so little going on in this patch already. You could have at least given us that.
Yeah, I don't know.
That
Maybe he's actually like a Momonga style lich or something, and they can't show bones in China or something like that.
That could be it. We could just never see his face.
That could be a cool twist. But yeah, so far in Sumeru, you've got the Wanderer returning, Scaramouche, as he is at this point.
Will you do the Fandango?
I will ultimately name him Fandango because yes,
His name is Jeff.
but he's not evil for the sake of evil. He's just broken.
Yeah, he's kind of screwed in the head.
Yeah, but considering the life he's had at this point, it's completely understandable as to why.
He's bitter and twisted, and then makes best friends with an adorable dragon.
Yes,
Oh,
as you do.
Oh, Fern, I guess that's not a spoiler for him because he can't
He'll
do
never
it.
get to see it. He missed that.
Yeah, during the summer event, he becomes BFFs with a baby dragon, and not like.
And he's like totally Tsundere about it. Like he's like, no, I'm not really its friend.
But he is totally his best friend, and it's not just a baby dragon; it's a talking baby dragon.
Ah, wait, I've got a talking baby dragon. That's terrible.
It's way cuter than a How. How got nothing on this baby dragon.
Anything's way cuter than a How. Oh, hey, there's a Culus just sitting just below the surface of the water here.
It made me glad I did not.
He thinks that he's an elder dragon, doesn't he?
Well, he is an elder dragon.
He claims he's an elder dragon.
Not a baby dragon.
Yeah, so he's kind of suppressed and locked down at the moment.
Yeah, if dragons posted on 4chan.
Well, yes. But, and Kenichek, if you put him in your teapot, he actually says that, yeah, Ahura actually put up a proper fight.
You know what's going to happen at the end of the story, right? We're going to...
Ahura Unleashed?
No. During Natland, the main story is not going to give us very much or anything. Even the side quests aren't going to give us much. There'll be one side quest that has us go back to Fontaine to go talk to Nuvi. And he's going to be like, that asshole! You've been hanging out with him?
No, Nuvalet would be way more subdued than that.
I don't know.
But also judgy.
How is annoying enough that he might be able to break through.
But there's just an eyebrow twitch. The porcelain mask breaks just for a moment.
The skies darken. Thunder
best.
begins rumbling.
Yeah, nothing. No words. Just the eyebrow twitch.
Well, the thing is that, and they introduced this earlier on Fontaine, so it's probably not a big deal. But the weather's sort of like indicative of
Nuvalet's mood.
Yeah,
is the
generally speaking,
Hydro Dragon, isn't he?
Yeah. So the idea that I like the idea that he doesn't show any expression, but this like suddenly it becomes overcast and you hear lightning.
Yeah,
or thunder, I suppose.
But, yeah, if it turns out that a whore actually is the Pyro Dragon, that's going to be disturbing.
Yeah. Nuvalet.
Well, who did he tick off to end up like that?
Probably Nuvalet.
Probably Nuvalet.
Nuvalet wouldn't do that to his own kind, I don't think. Even if Ajad did annoy the ever-loving crap out of him.
Did you talk to Nuvalet and Wriothesley at the end of Sigwin's quest? And Nuvalit tries to make a joke.
I do this. This is ringing bells, but I don't remember exactly what was said.
Oh, it was
That sounds
basically
wrong.
that. It was basically Risley asked what Nuvalit was doing for fun all that time when he was the Hydro Dragon, just swimming from east to west and north to south. And Nuvalit's like, yeah, and sometimes from the seabed to the surface. And Risley's like, oh, okay. And Nuvalit's like, oh, no, I was trying to make a joke. It's just like you can, and because it's all voiced, you can hear that Nuvalit was like feeling super awkward because he thought it was funny.
Like, I got him. I finally understand these humans. Oh,
Yeah, no.
he's getting there.
Yeah, just go back to boogieing down to the oratories, Nuvalet. It's what you're good to.
Chris Mechanique Decalis Cardinal. You've got that stuck in my head now.
Ha!
Serves you right. You keep doing the same thing to me with all kinds of things.
No, I get one particular thing we can't mention on air stuck in your head.
It's payback for the week of brain rot you've been sending me.
That is true. If you have private messaged me this week or been in my regular private message sphere, I was sick this week in addition to overworked. So throughout the week, you may have gotten interesting stuff I found on YouTube while laying in bed sick.
Yes.
I just got an endless stream of GIFs.
Or GIFs. Just any GIF. My brain was super fogged this week.
It do be like that sometimes.
It's probably why I budgeted pulls for Chowsko and I had no intention of getting her.
And no real use for her either.
You
Oh.
also made a terrible pun on misery.
Yeah, I had that one saved for months though, so I don't count that one as part of this this one.
Anyway, where was I for a week? So yeah, still chipping away at Genshin. Other stuff I did. I fired up Final Fantasy just so I could tick off my house and see what the.
Oh crap! I should do that.
You should do that.
Demolition
see
is
what
still
the-
technically paused because of the hurricanes. They have not unpaused it for some reason.
Yeah, okay. So
But-
take advantage of that.
Still a good idea to go in and touch your house.
Yeah, go touch your house. Yeah, I only really did enough to go and just unlock the Alliance raid, and I mean it's got good little Jar Jar in it, so yeah. Oh no, Bakul Jar. Bakul Jar Jar.
So I'm gonna use this to tangent before I forget it. It's not gonna be a long tangent. I'm not gonna steal too much.
All right.
But remember how we were talking about how Genshin just does things so much better with Natlan compared to Dawn Trail if you line up story beats as close as they are.
They're basically the same story, except that one of them is actually entertaining.
So, if you were present last week, I mentioned the very, very first little bit of the new Dawn Trail NSQ, where there is a dad and his son discussing the fallout of his son being stuck in a time bubble for 30 years over tacos because they used to be his kid's favorite food. And they're having this nice heart-to-heart to try and work their way through this problem. And it's genuinely interesting stuff. In comes
And then like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, in comes Wook Lamont.
Yeah.
And it's not just in comes Wook Lamont. It's, don't worry, we've set up counseling centers for this. No, this is not something that you fix outside of the family unit, Wook Lamont. You shut up.
They were working their way through it. Shut up and leave them alone.
Like, the interesting bit of conflict here that we could have gone with, flush down the tube.
And,
Okay.
Not to mention how much of the fundamental themes of Dawn Trail was supposed to be burbling about family ties.
Yeah.
And they just like toss that out the window because there's an institution that can save you now. Like, this is literally what's wrong with society, and you're endorsing it.
Yeah. So, conversely, we have post happenings at the very, very, this is like the first objective of the first quest of the current patch, so very minor spoilers.
Not that there's more than one quest.
Yeah. So we have, after the happenings that were 5.2, some people are not coping well, either through actual damage or PTSD or various other problems because 5.2 was a little rough for people in that land.
Yeah.
And they spend about half of the current Archon quest going over how to properly deal with PTSD by forcing people to deal with the reality of the situation they're in, instead of and only resorting to medication when absolutely necessary, or
Yeah, it's like
institutions.
when there's nothing left. Like you've already tried everything, and then you can resort to medication, and then turn them over to their family's care.
Yeah, like
and as a absolute last resort, because it's heavily emphasized that relying on medication to solve psychological issues, the side effects are often not worth it.
yeah, it's like the ones they go over are the dude that gives it is like, yeah, you can do this for cases like this where it's just too much, and you can't fix it without medical intervention. But he's gonna have to live with lifelong migraines for the rest of his life at minimum now. Like it's not gonna be pretty for him, and he's gonna need constant care and attention. But he'll at least know where he is.
Mm.
So just a bit of a contrast between the two with their first patches, major patches after their big story beats.
Oh, wow. I haven't done too much really there, but I was happy to see Bakul Jar Jar at least getting some more screen time. But
yeah, he's part of the Alliance Raid series, though. That's kind of
the thing is that people
separate.
actually liked Bakul Jar Jar, though. Like
yes,
he was an actually popular character. Like he had organic popularity, because if I looked at, because I do use the tweeters, I oughtn't, but I do use the tweeters. And if I compare side by side in volume, the chatter about sort of Wook Lamart versus Bakul Jar Jar was relatively similar, but in terms of like what was clearly organic enthusiasm, the chatter about Bakul Jar Jar was people actually thought Bakul Jar Jar was a fun character, as opposed to Wook Lamart, where people were standing up for her for like basically toxic positivity reasons.
Yeah.
BJJ,
they could have done Wook Lamart so much better.
BJJ had for all the writing foibles he has, and oh goodness, does he have a lot of them?
Yes, he does.
But he's still fun, and he has an attachment point in the funness of his character.
Even if that is the like childish nostalgia for Snidely Whiplash.
I mean,
he is cartoonishly the bad guy.
Yeah,
the first half of that game.
It's still a point of attachment, and given our choices in that game, we'll take anything we can get from this expansion.
I will give them one piece of credit, though, is they've gone back with the new patch and re-recorded some of those voice lines.
And they're even worse.
You can't get any worse than Speen.
No, you can.
Well, yes, you can. Well, the thing is that now it sounds like it sounds emoted now. However, it sounds like a man doing it for a very good reason, because it's a man doing it. But that's really the issue, is that it went from a man giving a flat womanish delivery to a man giving a man's delivery and can actually emote. So it was. This is not really. Yeah, it giveth with one hand and taketh with the other. So
it is certainly a more honest performance.
You only had one direction to go, honestly.
Yeah, it is certainly a more honest performance, but
yeah, but we went for Spain to Spain.
Yeah, it's
just it's a bad delivery all round. I saw a lot of people touting it as, oh, this is proof that there were no problems that were the voice actor's fault. It was all the director.
No,
the director was bad, but that doesn't make the voice actor good.
Yeah, it's not a single issue.
The real problem is the casting. We can follow up with the writing as a separate discussion, but the casting is terrible. I'm sorry, it just
honestly
is.
The way that whole scene is put together there, I think it works in Japanese, but it doesn't work in English.
I haven't watched the scene in Japanese, but it's still a kill steal as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, it's still a kill steal, absolutely. It's just how those lines are constructed.
Yeah, I got there earliest of us three when we were going through the MSQ, and the chat was like, better not. she's totally gonna kill still. Oh,
She did.
the amount of equivalents of "God damn it" in the chat were quite
Well,
high.
that's
Yeah.
because people had been seeing it for the entire story up to that point, and since they were the first wave, they all would have seen all of those scenes in rapid succession.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mhm.
and Wook Lamont steals the show, and Wook Lamont steals the show, and Wook Lamont steals the show, and Wook Lamont teaches an entire tribe how to do agriculture, and Wook Lamont steals the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to
So we-
derail Fern's week too much. We can change it back on Final Fantasy.
We bang that drum a lot anyway. Yeah.
Even when you're not here, we keep drumming.
that
Yeah.
it may
Like,
be a dead
it's so
horse,
much-
but it still makes a nice drumming sound when you
Well,
beat on it.
The
It
thing
do
is,
go bonk, bonk.
I feel emotionally hurt by Final Fantasy 14 this expansion
Yeah,
because they betrayed me in some sense is how it feels. So that's why I keep bringing it up.
The thing that really gets me the most is there's a lot of really good ideas in there, just badly executed.
I think that the ideas are mediocre. You could build on them to get some good ideas. I can see that happening, but I don't think that there's any execution that could save it as written, as sort of like storyboarded and concepted out in the initial stages, like the very crude outline. I can definitely see places where you can go with that, but I think it was both written and directed and acted poorly. Like everything built on top of the rough armature is incredibly crude and amateur. I don't really understand how this travesty could happen.
We've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. It should have been 2 different expansions for this story.
I think the entire Succession thing should have been like a side story in a patch following an actual story.
That should have been the linking patch, you think?
Maybe.
I would have, personally,
The-
to get the best story, I would have had the Succession over and done with and just have us explore. That's
Honestly,
that's the story.
all of that's just basically wool gathering because they did ultimately decide to build the expansion around a character who is not a good character who nobody has any affinity for. And that's really it. She's not popular.
As long as Wook Lamau is there and exists in the narrative, I don't think you can even salvage it to passable.
No. She's just such a plot tumor. It's just no.
And yeah, I mean, you would have to replace her with. You could have a thing called Wook Lamont that exists in the story, but it would have to be rewritten to such a point it would be nothing like the character we have right now. It'd be a totally different
I
character.
don't. I would much rather have us have had Sphene be the main character. Like it's just like a story about her instead.
That would have merely been a disappointing story. That wouldn't have hurt.
That, yeah.
Yeah, Sphene had a really good hook, but yeah.
Well, she has a real background and a real challenge to hurdle, and it's not all dressed up as some game that she's playing. Like the whole thing is a big mess. You could have done a story where you meet somebody like Sphene, and I keep calling her in my brain Speen because she's sort of ruined. But
Because of that
you could
scene,
have
yes.
you could have a whole debacle where she finds out that she's not actually the original one, and do that. That's a well-worn story, but it works. There's a lot of stories that you could tell, and nearly every story that you could tell based on the facts that you have available to you about Tural and the other places that become tied into Tural. The worst story that you could have picked to tell is the one that they picked.
Yes. There's so many better things they could have done and just didn't. Anywho, I do want to get back into Final Fantasy at some point, depending on what the new content does. Maybe I'll wait until
I want to. I want to. But I don't want to. That's the thing. I have not fired up Final Fantasy since the patch deployment because just thinking back to it, I feel this mixture of anger and depression again. Like, I mean, I could go in and I could do the Alliance raids and maybe I have great fun doing them, but it's no longer contributing to something that I treasure anymore. It's contributing to something that has deeply disappointed me. I'm very tempted to just sit out the entire expansion and then come back and clean it up later when it's old content.
That's definitely an option as well. There's a lot of other games to play at the moment.
Yeah, I've got no shortage of games to play. Like, you think you've got a big content backlog in Genshin? I still have an enormous content backlog in Genshin, and I'm way further advanced than you. My world level is ahead of Aristeel's, and I've got a gigantic backlog of content still to clear. It's just
This game is massive.
I know I took a few months off of doing dailies, but man, I still don't know how you made up that EXP difference that much.
I haven't done the stories either. I haven't finished the character quests. I haven't done most of the major world quests. I haven't done the side quests. I don't know what it is that I've been doing that contributes such a large chunk. But
Maybe dailies just count that much.
maybe I'm about let's see, I'm about 1/6 of the way into world level 58 and into adventure rank 58. So yeah, I'm about 15% through that bar. So something is causing that bar to rise.
Yeah. All right. The only other bit of gaming geekeriness that I did really is I started back on Blacklist Wukong. Because I kind of dropped off that one fairly early, and I really kind of regretted it.
Yeah, I would hop back on, and no, I haven't not back on it. I haven't bought the game yet. I would jump on that one. It looks interesting, but just too much other crap on my want to playlist right now.
There's a lot.
That's
But it's been fun. I've actually gotten into the groove a bit better this time around, and so I'm at the end of chapter 1, and I'm being elbow dropped by a gigantic bear. So yeah, it is the strangest fight, but it is entirely in keeping with the theme, I think. So I'm not going to mind it too much. But yeah,
murdering
when you
all
get up
your-
to that boss, watch out for the elbow drop.
Yeah, I suppose the main point of interest with that at present is that it's probably, since they have taken the asinine posture of counting a DLC as a new game for the Dorito Pope Awards, Black Myth Wukong is going to be the only real competitor on a lot of those lists, except it's not going to win because they're going to want to give it to Elden Ring.
Yeah,
Again.
like Elden Ring is good, but it's not. It shouldn't be there.
No, this is not its year. And but I mean, Sony's in talks to buy out FromSoft now so they can turn everything woke.
Ugh. Although I have to see how much credit there is in these rumors that Sony Japan is really not happy with how things are going.
Oh, they aren't, but they've got no power anymore.
They signed it all over.
They were totally gutted. No, it was a hostile takeover, from what I've heard from people on the inside.
Okay.
It was as though there was a hostile takeover happening, another company coming in and completely undermining the extant company. This was not a strategic change. This was something that was perpetrated against Sony Japan without their consent.
Interesting. So
I
see.
mean, they're just crashing and burning now. Like, remember, these are the people that funded Concord.
Yes, they are. Actually, I saw we might as well just quickly touch on it now because this is about all the content we've got for it. Is we do have the nominations for the Game Awards, and aside from like a few glaring ones, it's not as bad as I was expecting it to be.
I voted purely so that I could vote for Pecora.
I mean, yes, she's also the only one on that list I actually recognize. But
the sort of like the normie Zoomer and Gen Alphas who watch streamers were livid that Pecora was on there.
But why though?
Because they worship the weird beard men that make up the rest of the list.
I have no idea who these weird beard men are.
I have no idea who they are either, but you can find people on, like I said, I still have a line into the Twitter, and the support for these weirdos, these beardos, is fanatical. It's like the prophet of their religion or something.
That's kind of creepy.
Even if I played games in a way interesting enough for people to watch, and even if I thought I was good enough to be a streamer at any game, it just feels icky when people start acting like that.
Well, the thing is, it's a self-reinforcing behavior, right? Because the entire community around you thinks the same way, but to be part of that community, you have to think the same way, and they all keep each other in line. Like it is
Whatever
a
tide you have to
cultish
step out.
mechanism.
And
I mean, it's not like Hololive fans are any different in large part. It's just that their fandom extends beyond those people,
Well,
and the talents themselves have sort of a company line to push to avoid antisocial behavior, avoid encouraging antisocial behavior.
yeah, and there's a because they play so hard into their characters at Hololive relative to the other VTuber, they there's a level of separation between this being a real person that you can simp for, and it being just a character.
Yeah,
It
That
also
makes
helps provided your name's not Marine, you don't spend too much time talking about your privates if you work for Hololive.
Marine's kind of she's Marine.
That's
But
her
actually,
that's her shtick at this point.
It is, and that reminds me of the other thing I did do, which was play through the new version of HoloCure, or play some of
I
it.
saw
anyway.
a lot of people talking about it, but I didn't dabble in it myself.
They've done.
There was a lot of bickering about gambling or rock paper scissors or something.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of streams, particularly of Bay playing the rock paper scissors game against Iris and losing all her money. But yeah, they put out the new patch, which is 9 new characters. There is a certain necromancer who has been omitted because, well, yes,
Nobody wants to open that can of worms. Like
nobody wants to touch that.
Her picture is now next to Menhera in the dictionary.
Yes.
Yeah, like
That's a whole big old drama mill that nobody wants to go anywhere near.
I have only skimmed the surface of that monster of a drama bomb, and oh, that doesn't look good.
Oh yeah, and it keeps on going.
Although to be fair, that's like Tuesday at Nijisanji.
Well, yes, Kurosanji. So they've got the 9 new characters. I haven't played all of them, but the ones I have played, they've really kind of tried to go out of their way to give everyone a unique mechanic to go around them.
So the 4th generation's in this, right?
Yes.
So Coco
is a lot of fun.
Oh, she's in. Okay, cool.
She's in. She's got one of the probably the simplest gimmicks. Her main weapon is crap. She has the sword, and that's it. She goes slashy slashy. What her main gimmick is, aside from her Yakuza references, where she just spawns random items she picks up and throws at enemies, is she relies on the Asakoko items. And which means also she can use particularly the injection type Asakoko without the penalty. So normally when you use that item, it's 20% across the board damage increase, but you have a constant damage over time ticking away.
I feel
Coco
like every time I read the phrase a plug type Asakoko, I can feel my internal organs rearranging themselves in fear. It's like something deeply unnatural about this.
Yeah. Also, the ability that negates that is GMMF.
I don't follow on this, and I'm not sure I want to. Oh, wait, no, I do. I got it. Okay.
Remember the plug type Asakoko? She used it as a mouse pointer.
No.
Yeah.
I remember the plug type Asakoko. I was having trouble with Fern's acronym for a second, but then it clicked.
GMMF, yeah. The ability, the talent name is just called GMMF. For obvious reasons.
Should have called it Weather Hackers.
Yeah, could have done that. So yeah, she basically gets life drain and significant damage increases by using any Asakoko item. So that's kind of her gimmick there. She also has 3 specials. Yeah. Toa is another fun one. She's all about an ammo gauge, where you use her special, you get a big increase of ammo and unlock her assault rifle. So you bring the Daka.
The Hololive Angel.
Yes.
The actual angel, as opposed to the Hololive Gorilla.
As opposed to the Gorilla.
Gorilla should be in this one too, then, if it's Gen 4.
Gorilla is indeed in this one, and she does gorilla things. I haven't played the Gorilla. But that is absolutely a shuriken on her head. I haven't played Noelle. I've played Marine, and she's
I heard she's
different.
got some rather scandalous abilities.
Yeah, so basically she charges a bar by either being very close to enemies or at an increased rate when she takes damage. And when the bar fills, she climaxes. There you go. I'll use their word.
She marines at them.
She marines at them, and she kind of explodes in a big burst of horniness.
I worry for that woman. She's getting on. She needs to get married.
She's got to be what, like 45 now? Might be too late.
Yeah. So, the reactions on that whole ability have been funny, especially with Sora trying to remain the say-so idol when talking about it. She didn't succeed.
Kind of hard when Marine's involved.
Yeah. But Marine is a lot of fun.
I'm sure there's a pure maiden deep down there underneath all of that. Rest of Marine.
I think it was Coco's fault that she wound up that way.
Probably.
That or Hachima's. Because one of them introduced her to the phrase, I'm horny.
Yes. The only other character of the roster I have played is Pekora, who is all about explosions, money, and screwing with proc rates. She's the only character who seems to be able to do it, but one of her passives is she just increases the proc rate of anything with a random element to it across the board. As long as it's a positive effect, she increases its rate of happening. Which is the potential to be incredibly busted.
We nearly buggered that one up, Fern.
We very nearly did. Only a common chest for that? Really?
I went and murdered all your water tigers in Jinyu Vale. I needed the materials to enhance Cheska's weapon.
Oh. She needs Jinyu Vale materials? Okay.
But not her, but the weapon I'm using on her is the crafted one from that land, and that uses Vale material.
Ah, okay. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. They've added in the casino, which is just basically a bunch of random chance mini games for the most part. There's a math one in there with 4 difficulties, going from the highest hard difficulty down to Gura.
What are the questions in Gura?
It's usually just a simple addition and subtraction.
Like the sort of things you learn when you're like 4.
Yes.
So
maybe a little bit more complex, but not much.
Where's 3-4?
Where is 3 and 4? They need to put in a Fuwawa level spelling bee, by the way. That's become a thing. But
I didn't watch the spelling bee streams. So I don't know any of the memes that came out of them.
It's chaos. It is actually pretty funny. It's a good second screen viewing, that one. It's actually been interesting seeing Army out there as her new character.
Oh,
so you can kind of get the impression of what she wanted to achieve now.
Unfortunately, she has partnered with some of the more degenerate VTubers out there to do a guest stream on recently, and she is clearly very uncomfortable with it.
Yeah. It's kind of a radical shift.
What are we talking about?
Oh, she showed up with like Philly.
Who are we talking about?
And Doki Bird.
Don't keep saying she. Okay.
Ame, yeah. Or Doobie, as she is now.
Yeah.
But she's always been kind of about experimentation and kind of pushing the technology in new and interesting directions.
The reality is that she's going to collab with the people who will collab with literally anybody at this point, because she's trying to get established under a new ID.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Unfortunately, the people who will collaborate with anybody are...
They like their hoo-has a lot.
They do like their hoo-has.
They talk about little else, and apparently there are a lot of people who will tune in regularly to hear someone talk about that.
Yeah. Let's just say there's a VTuber out there for everyone, unfortunately. I do not want to do this puzzle right now. These puzzles are a headache.
The thing I have to remember whenever I think why, there are two things that come to my head. One of them very recent. That one is the now hear me out that I found on Hoyo Labs when I just opened the website one day. Like literally the first post. And
That's
it was
always a bad
There's nothing good begins with that phrase.
No.
it's better if you don't know.
Oh dear.
And the other one is feet people exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. You people are weird.
If you're plugged into the Twitter, sort of like Yunli checked a lot of people's boxes.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Anyway.
maybe this is like a counterattack character thing or something.
No. Well, let me put it this way. My sister is about the most generic art school liberal type person you could think of, and even she hates feet people.
For any
Yeah.
particular reason, or just because they're gross?
They're gross.
Okay. So yeah, what else? The only other thing about Hollow Cure is the Tower of Suffering. It's Jump King. Jump King has been added to Hollow Cure.
I heard Kelly cleared that without using any checkpoints.
Yeah, because she didn't know the checkpoints were a thing until she got like 90% of the way up.
Oh, that one
To be
needs
fair,
the
she has also
Rose
spent a huge amount of time playing Jump King.
She did.
Just like her some
Like
Jump King.
She is to Jump King as Fauna is to Bennett Foddy.
Yes. So yeah, it's a big patch and a big update they put in. I haven't finished the new map and I haven't looked at any of the new hard modes that have been added because yeah, things ramp up real quick. The new map is a vertical scrolling coastal map. And as you go north and south, you will come across pirate ships on the coast, which will shoot cannonballs across. And those cannonballs hurt. Like, if you're playing a more fragile character like Aqua, they probably will one-shot you if you get hit by them. The first boss she's fairly standard, but basically a retread of ground that's already been done. The big boss, I'm not going to spoil what they actually are because that's half the fun, is a handful. So, yeah, it's a very good patch, and honestly, I really wish I could give these guys money for it because they put so much work into it. But yeah, it's a great way to kill an afternoon.
I consider that to be a negative. Because what happens is that you fire it up thinking you're going to play for 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. You cannot play that game for 15 minutes. You will play it for a minimum of 6 hours. Yeah, it is very, very addictive, and it is still better than Vampire Survivors. I don't mind Vampire Survivors, but Hollow Cure is just better.
Well, I mean, the Hollow Cure evolved. Vampire
did.
Survivors really didn't have any motivation to do so. It was designed effectively to be a flash in the pan success.
The
The money up
well,
front,
it's got
move on to a
crossovers
project
now.
that's your passion project.
Yeah, the
It's all
ZZZ Vampire Survivor has more moving parts than OG Vampire Survivors.
Yeah,
The
there's a
ZZZ
lot of
Vampire Survivors made me rage out.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of games that kind of follow that formula and do their own thing with it. And Vampire Survivors is just kind of the vanilla version of that.
That's good to know. Don't put something above your head when you're rising vertically on Jessica, or she just gets off the gun.
Oh, she gets bonked?
If you're on the initial vertical rise, you'll start charging the bullets as you're rising, but as soon as you bonk your head, the game's just like, no.
No, okay. All right, well, that's my week
Computer
then.
says no.
And that took a lot longer than it really needed to. But anyway,
Silly.
now I'm chasing it.
Beast.
You mean meat sack?
Meat sack. Look at all that meat.
So, Fern, or not Fern, Vol. For your week, you had you didn't really have a week. Do you want to do the
work was rough.
Do you want to do
Work
that?
was like super rough.
Do the Star Rail news for your week then, since you don't really have one.
Yeah, I guess I could do that. Of the brief précis of my week is that work sucked balls, and tied up a huge amount of my time. But more than my time, it just tied up my mental cycles. I have a lot of things to worry about right now, and my boss keeps making them worse. And
As they do.
My situation is largely intractable. So I'm just basically, I'm going to have to just sort of sit there and endure a bunch of opprobrium and tongue lashings from the upper management, which I deeply dislike. But there's like no solution. There's nothing I can do to make the problem go away, which I hate. And I'm going to be, blamed and chastised for something that I can't really solve, which I also hate. But, yeah, Corpo sucks. Don't do it. There's not really another sector for me to move into at this point. So I'm kind of stuck. but yeah. Anyway, at least Ari wants to give me a job. I can do whatever Opossum's doing because he's not doing it.
If
Go and
only.
play pointless trucks.
The minute he retires, I'll hire literally anybody on my online friends list.
Anyway, games wise, Blue Archive, not much to mention. We're doing the Phantom Thief rerun at the moment. Fern, where have you gone? You should get this teleporter while you're here. And I haven't done much with it at this point. Like I've said in the past, I'm more or less treading water with Blue Archive now because I'm really here for the story. Like I like the characters in the story, and it's sort of like one of the fast-paced gacha waifus where they introduce characters at a clip of speed. So there's only so much that you can do if you've got it on maintenance mode, which I'm pretty much doing right now. Also, I currently hate the PvP season. Like, I did the theory crafting, but everybody else did the theory crafting as well, or copied somebody who did. And unfortunately, this season of PvP in Blue Archive is ridiculously binary. Like, nearly every match is close to a mirror match, if not an actual mirror match, and it just basically turns the battle into a coin flip. Like, what EX skills spawn for you when you load up the battle, and that's it. It's the only thing that matters. Because it's a mirror match. So yeah, and I can't really compete because I'm not. I can't really compete at the high level because I'm not participating in Fury of Set, which is necessary to upgrade characters beyond the normal limits. So yeah. Anyway,
Fern, do you need help with these type of puzzles and how they work?
I think I've got it. It's just find the rock nearby that matches the that one.
You want to turn them into dot, squiggle, and high. I don't know what order.
that is a really terrible description. Dot squiggle high.
I mean, it literally says high.
It looks it's crops.
I can sort of see what you're saying. I
It does
see
say
why
high,
you say it
actually.
says high, but it says high with like extra diacritics.
It's just the H is not having a good day.
No, it is not. It looks like my handwriting.
Having a good day. It's been literally beheaded.
It's still attached. It's just kind of broken.
Yeah, so crops, snake, and pebbles, I guess.
Like snake as manifested by a Nokia.
Yes.
Dot, squiggle, high.
One true snake that lives in an indestructible box.
I played Snake on ZZZ this week.
Oh, for the
because
weekly.
they changed
Oh,
the
yeah.
weeklies. So
Yeah,
I played
multiplayer snake.
I didn't play the multiplayer one though. I don't want to deal with other people.
You just have to play.
Oh, you can
one
play
up.
it against the AI.
You just have to play one arcade game per week. I don't even think you have to finish it.
No, you just need to start it. That's all I did. I played until I died once. I did the same thing with Soul Hounds last week.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
had the Vampire Survivors one this week.
You can
Okay.
do whichever normally.
Yeah. Oh, it was specifically Vampire Survivors for me.
Oh, mine wasn't specific.
Yeah, mine wasn't specific
just had to
last
play-
week.
I think last week I had to play Soul Hounds, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think I
Anyway.
had Soul Hounds last. I might have had Soul Hounds last week.
Anyway, so yeah, where was I? Genshin. I won't really talk about Genshin because I haven't had any time to play the new content. I've done the cure people of their mental illness type of thing, or at least help people deal with their demons thing.
I like the way
I've
they
done
dealt
that.
with they deal with that. Whenever they deal with PTSD in that particular way, I like it a lot.
Well, it feels far more real. Like it's like the Sesame Street version of it, but it is much in the way of the Sesame Street version of everything. It follows the sort of crude lines of reality as opposed to just producing a magical solution to the problem.
And we're talking about put down the ducky era Sesame Street, not modern Sesame
I don't know
Street.
I've never seen modern Sesame
It's
Street.
super gay.
I haven't seen any Sesame Street after 1990.
Yeah.
So,
I
how
had
long ago
not.
was that?
No, don't want to know the answer to that.
See, the thing is that I turned 38 this week,
Oh no.
and so now everything seems super old.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
oh dear. So yeah.
Cool.
Anyway,
I really enjoy when they do that because there's just a bit more truth to you need to deal with your problem by facing it and finding a way to get over yourself. And if somebody has to drag you in front of it, that's the best way to deal with it.
There's a syndrome of our current culture, which is that everything can be solved using the better living through chemistry route. Like I think that this is a problem of no fundamentals of ethics or philosophy are taught in school, and I think that that's fundamentally where this comes from, because that requires a conception of the world wherein a person is more than just a material bag of chemicals. Because if a person is nothing more than a material bag of chemicals, then it makes perfect sense to just alter the chemicals until you have happy feels. In fact, there's literally no other point to life in that context. So the idea that, well, if you feel badly about something, you need not invest yourself in solving your problems. You simply just adjust the levels of chemicals until you don't feel that anymore. Like that, there's no conceivable way for that not to be corrosive to a society, but that is 100% the way most people think nowadays.
That's a common trope in dystopias for a reason.
Yeah, and it's like there's like, isn't there like a famous webcomic that does the rounds repeatedly about a girl who likes to go on adventures and she travels to the future, and in the future they just put you in a room and inject happy juice into you, and you just sit there in that room having happy juice injected into you for the rest of your life. And that's all anybody ever does. There's no need to do anything else because it's the same result, right? You just feel good. Anyway, that's sort of the sort of what this approach militates against, is the idea that there's something fundamentally more noble about facing your despair than making it go away.
And I liked El Capitano at the very end of it, where he's like, "Yeah, we have a medical solution. It needs to be a last resort."
This is like fundamentally worse than basically every other solution that you could use, but you can only use it when you've already failed with everything else, and there's no way back. Like he plays a character who has already seen how bad things can get. The solution was developed at great cost, and it was developed because there was no option.
Yeah.
And he is the person who has stood in that place where he's been to war and back again, and then back to war and back again, over and over and over for his entire interminable existence, and this is the conclusion that he's come to after all of that, is that it's still, after all of that, it is still better to fight your way through your troubles than it is to give up and use chemistry to solve them. But yeah, I think that it's broadly unlikely to be viewed that way popularly. I think that it's just going to be viewed as like, oh well, this is a try fetch quest story where you talk to people about things until the quest is over and you get some primogems. But I think that there is value to that message, but I don't think that message will be received.
Yeah.
I think that in the current culture, it's too ingrained that when you feel sad, you go to a psychiatrist and you get some kind of drug to make you happy.
Yeah, and it also doesn't help that this patch's story quest is clear patch, because
yeah, it feels very abbreviated.
like I am willing to let it slide completely because of the amount of production values they put into the previous Archon quest.
Yeah, well, that was a hard hitter. I think people need a little bit of interlude, and it's not like there's a dearth of content. There's still plenty of stuff to do. There's a lot of area to cover. I haven't even scratched the faintest surface of it, but there's definitely look like there's a lot of it, and I'm sort of a bit apprehensive as to how I am going to find enough time to actually do any of it. I presume that there's going to be an exploratory award coming down the line. Yes, there is. I'm at 9% somehow.
Yeah.
I need to spend some time working on that. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to exploring it because Natlan is generally a well put together place. I feel like it's a little bit theme parky in places, but not in a way that I think detracts in a significant way from the overall experience. I think it's okay. Yeah, so I don't have much else to say about Genshin because I haven't had much time to really experience the new content. ZZZ this week, I'm just sort of working on padding out mostly core skills and things on a few characters. I still don't really know the way I want to go. Like I didn't have a plan like Ari going into like, okay, so I want to structure 2 coherent teams and then participate in game. Like I'm not that fussed about that. I want to play the game in a way that makes sense for me and is enjoyable for me in a casual way. And going hell for leather to try and build up 2 teams just doesn't really figure into that structure for me.
It'll come with time anyway.
But yeah, so I don't really know what I want to do going forward. Like there's a lot of chatter, for instance, about what does Lighter mean as a character in terms of structure and predictions going forward? Because he's a stunner, he's a fire stunner who power creeps Kalita and buffs ice and fire. So he's way narrower than Shinyi in terms of teams that you can fit him in to maximum performance. Like Shinyi can work with anybody basically. She's just a premium stunner. There is a really, really strong bias for Lighter to be used in teams where you are serving an attacker rather than an anomaly character, or ice and fire rather than other types of damage dealers. So there is still some flexibility there, but it's sort of been condensed into 2 major axes rather than being general. And I think it's an interesting approach, and I don't know what exactly that says about the future. I guess it means that, well, if you get Lighter, you can use it with Miyabi because she's ice, or Bernice because she's fire, or Haramasa because he's an attacker. That type of logic. Yeah, but I don't know what's coming down the line, and it feels kind of weird, really, and a little bit, I don't know, a little bit cynical in some respects, in the sense that well, they've made lighter an ice buffer, even though it's off theme for the Sons of Caledon that we know. I mean, there's a lot of chatter that there's reason to believe that Pulchra will join the Sons of Caledon faction, though we don't really know in what type, in what way, what approach to play she has.
Be a projectile for Bernice that she can light on fire.
Perhaps. It would not completely surprise me. But yeah, so I'm just sort of toddling my way through there, pointedly avoiding doing arpeggio fault, and I feel badly about it. I really, really want it to be done, but I don't want to do it. Who is responsible for this?
Is the Bang Booty guy.
The sort of like, this is where you don't want to be when you are making your gacha game, is where you have people in your audience who feel obliged to do content they don't like. That's the shortest path to death for any gacha game. So yeah, it's I'm not really that sanguine about arpeggio fault, but I'm gonna have to make time to do it. It's not gonna be around forever, and I kind of want to get it completed because there's important exclusive rewards there that you can't get elsewhere. So, sigh. I wish there wasn't so much of it. Like if it was like 1/3 or 2/3 even,
yeah,
then I would probably have swallowed it by now. But it's so expensive.
If it was 3-4 step nodes as an experiment for this to see what we can do with Bang Boo TV to maybe touch it up a bit, okay, I could have stomached that. But it's not. It's 5 nodes that are subdivided into subnodes, and the last 2 have 2 additional nodes on top of the standard count from the first few.
Yeah, it's I don't know what possessed them to do this. I think that, like I've said in the past, I think it's like a last-ditch attempt by the Bang Boo TV, the guy whose brainchild it is, to try and prove that there are people who don't hate it. But this was like the opposite of what I recommended when I gave my feedback on Bang Boo TV. Was that, like, I think that there are narrow contexts in which this makes a lot of sense as a storytelling mechanic when you need to tell a story that's broader than the in-game stuff can really accommodate. But the opposite of that is to just give you a condensed IV of Bang Boo TV content where you're just forced to swallow gads and gads and scads of it over and over again. This is the opposite of what everybody wants. Like, this is the sort of disruptiveness to the paradigm that people resented about it to begin with. Right? Like, because the problem with Bang Boo TV was fundamentally not something as simple as Bang Boo TV. It was that Bang Boo TV was not what was advertised.
Yeah.
It was Bang Boo TV was interrupting your experience as it was.
And not only was it not what was advertised, it was intrusive all over the place, every aspect of the game.
So that intrusiveness doesn't go away if you then make it a limited time event with special exclusive rewards you can't get elsewhere that everybody is forced to participate in if they want those rewards. And this is like not solving the problem. This is like partitioning the problem off from the rest of the game and then giving a double dose of it. This is sort of like, you know how when it became clear that there was going to be way less Bang Boo TV, and then Aristotel's reaction to this was to go and do all the Bang Boo TV, right, to get rid of it. Like, this is the exact opposite sort of phenomenon. Like, they've reduced Bang Boo TV, so now we're just going to give you heaps and heaps of it and make you do it. Like, you solved the problem already. You solved the problem when you stopped forcing us to do Bang Boo TV. Don't then just bring it all back again. Somebody had to eat humble pie and take it out of the game, by and large. Like, every design document now has strike-throughs in it, for all of the places that they were planning to use Bang Boo TV. This is the way. This is the reality of moving forward. You don't then just make an event which is pure distilled Bang Boo TV, because it's gonna annoy people. It's gonna be a pure loss of goodwill because people felt like you understood and responded to them. And what are you now going to demonstrate next? Oh, right, that you didn't really understand after all. Not a good move. Anyway, it's still sitting there, and I still feel like I have to do it, but I don't want to, which is a bad situation. Anyway, that's that. I don't have much else to report on ZZZ. Honestly, like I'm looking forward to Miyabi coming out so I can see how she works, and then probably pull on her because she's a cute fox waifu with severe autism apparently. But I'm interested to see where they go next for the next faction. All of the rumors suggest that it's going to be Idorus. And that there's going to be a whole bunch of combinations included that are character archetypes plus elements that we don't have combinations for yet, for at least several of them. So yeah, I'm interested to see where that will go, and that's sort of why, like, I don't want to pull the trigger on anything except, well, Miyabi's almost certainly going to be powerful because she's so popular, and popular characters who have existing popularity tend to get to be powerful. Might not be fair, but that's the way the world works in the world of gacha.
If nothing else, all the things that are weak to ether right now are also weak to ice.
I don't have any ice either.
Well, I mean,
think
Miyabi.
About how much ice is in the game.
That's what I'm saying. Miyabi is going to be ice, so if nothing else, you'll have.
It's going to shore that particular angle up, especially for things like. There's a gajillion characters in the game that you will, if you're a largely free-to-play player or low investment player, or you just aren't pulling on lots of banners, you're going to need to do a lot of butcher, because so many characters need butcher parts, and butcher's weak to ether and ice.
Yep, could be worse. Even if, oh no, I think they're weak to ether and ice too. Could be the twins.
Yeah, they're weak to ether and ice, I'm pretty sure. And what's more, Butcher has the ice, 15% ice is the resonium. That's the elemental aligned resonium before Butcher. So they're really strongly indicating ice for Butcher. But yeah, I'm sort of interested to see where they'll go with that. I did contemplate whether it was worth pulling Lighter for mechanical reasons, but I don't think it is, because he's just kind of... Stun characters at present just seem kind of narrow.
Yeah, and
with cases, they do like one thing and only one thing.
Yeah, and they have leaned into Anomaly a lot lately, which is the only archetype that doesn't need, or specifically Disorder Anomaly, which doesn't need a stunner.
Yeah, I'm still running stun teams because I have Caesar, and Caesar is a reasonably effective stunner. Caesar's a slower stunner than NB, but unlike NB, Caesar won't get one shot. And it allows you to do other stupid things like face-checking bosses with Bernice without her dying.
Oh, because she put the shield on Bernice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, I really want to stick the burn effect. I can't remember what it's called, that burn effect that Bernice does to the enemy.
The cocktail effect.
But it's really not safe to do it right now. Well, it's always safe if you've got Caesar. That's the big advantage of Caesar.
Yeah, the scenario with me is, I'll go for it. We're restarting.
Bernice is not robust.
No. She is a little Zuma girl that lights things on fire. Durability is not in the contract for that.
But yeah, anyway. So the next thing on the list is Star Rail. So the big event for Star Rail this week was the live show previews. So as usual, I was forcibly compelled to watch the one that was in English because English.
There was no Dr. Ratio this time, was there?
No, there was not Dr. Ratio this time. There was Sunday instead, who is not nearly as good. Though Sunday is not offensively bad either. He's only sort of the normal level of Star Rail English voice actor mediocrity.
He is thoroughly mediocre throughout his entire story performances. In the boss fight, when they finally cut him off the chain, he can have some good lines. They need to just let these actors go ham.
If you let them chew the scenery, some of them can do well. I feel like it's just that whoever does ADR for Star Rail is just extremely bad at their job.
Yeah, I get that impression quite a bit. Tell me, Mr.
Anytime
Sparrow.
that anytime that they're micromanaged on how they're supposed to deliver a line, it comes out incredibly shite. Whenever they're told just chew the scenery, give it everything, it usually comes out okay.
The starkest contrast in the game is Sampo versus Sparkle Sampo. Because when they give the Sampo's voice actor direction, like, oh, you're actually playing with Sparkle, he isn't terrible. He's not what I would call great, but he's definitely workable. And he's clearly having fun, and you can roll with it.
Yeah. So the other voice actors who showed up for this one were Pom Pom and March 7th. March 7th, I feel like March 7th. I don't think that March 7th's voice actress is especially talented or good. However, you can sort of tell that she's sort of that the character is becoming more worn in for her now. Like, it's more natural for her now. It feels way less stilted than it used to.
Yeah.
Because she shows up for everything. Like, she's the one that they've got on tap. They want a Star Rail character to do some English voice acting for promo material. They call up March 7th's voice actress, and she'll say, "Yeah, sure, cool, I'll be there."
It is definitely a bit of the Paimon effect going on there, where she just gets to do the role so much. Eventually, you kind of have to start growing into it.
Yeah, she's getting there. Pom Pom's still a bit cringe, but Pom Pom's Pom Pom. Being cringe is what Pom Pom does.
Also, Fern, I've been stealing all your withering purple blooms from the new area for local specialties, so I can finish the Cindy Chaska.
Oh, okay. That's all right.
I have been diligently following Bennett all over creation to help him out with his materials gathering and stuff. And you are there just feasting.
Yes.
I'm almost done. I need 8 more. That I can come exercise the Second Amendment in the air over your heads.
Mostly, I'm just going for an explore, and I want to know what's over here.
I don't know if it counts as bearing arms if the arms are bearing you.
I don't know. She seems to have a pretty good handle on it. Rides that gun like a rodeo horse. Fern's favorite type of person.
Why?
This is the first instance of crikey in Genshin is with this people.
Crikey!
Yeah.
From the Traveler,
and it
no
comes
less.
from Bird Traveler, yeah.
Crikey.
So that's one of the things I do appreciate. You kind of see a little bit of it through in Azuma, but it really starts picking up in Sumeru, is that the Traveler does have opinions and a personality.
Yeah.
Was Steve Irwin purposefully exaggerating his accent, or was that just how he talked?
That was just how he talked. That was all natural.
What region is that one from?
Brisbane.
I thought Brisbane was all New Zealanders.
Yeah, it kind of is now. But you get really, if you find an accent like that in Sydney, where people are just trying to fake it for I don't know why. You already have a cool accent. Stop faking a really awful one.
Anytime I think of Steve Irwin, I think of his appearance in one of the remade Dr. Dolittle, Eddie Murphy. And Steve Irwin's trying to tame a crocodile. The crocodile talks to Dr. Dolittle. I was over here. I'm going to bite his arm off. And sure enough, he bites Steve Irwin's arm off. And he goes, "Crikey, he's taking me arm off."
Yeah. Yeah, those Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittles weren't actually half bad. Isn't there a new one now, which is just awful?
Probably. They remake everything. And that one had already been remade once.
That's okay. That's okay. We've got the second coming of Steve Irwin now anyway. His son is exactly the same. Maybe a little less on the cringe, but yeah, he's basically the same guy.
How did we get here? Oh, right. I was stealing your stuff.
I was idly thinking about Australia banning under 16s from social media.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
That would be wonderful.
Do you think Albanese will get it through? Like, this is one of those things where I think that it would be for the moral good of society as a whole. However, I don't like the fact that Albanese is the one doing it or the reasons he's doing it. Because to me, if Labour is doing a thing, it's just to exercise power.
It's Labour and the internet. So, and whenever the Labour and the internet mix, the core idea is usually solid, but the execution is going to be an absolute disaster.
I would say you're in luck if it's even resembling the realm of reality. Labour does anything.
Yeah, well,
Albanese just strikes me as being like the Australian Keir Starmer. Like he's just an absolute retard, maybe 95 IQ on the outside, and is just doing things that he thinks a politician is supposed to do.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
he
like
is a
Albanese
politician.
at all. Like, to be fair, I don't think Albanese is quite as much of a robot man as Keir Starmer is.
No, we got Bill Shorten for that.
Yeah, he's pretty close. I hope that Australians have got enough nous to never elect Bill Shorten if he manages to rise to the top of the Labour
I think
Party.
Bill Shorten's out of politics now.
Is he retired?
I think so.
Or did
Yeah.
he get turfed out for being really, 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 really bad at being an energy minister or whatever it was he was doing?
Is there a difference?
I'm not sure. It depends. Like we've got some politicians like, Winston Peters has been in politics. Like he was a veteran politician in the early 80s. He's still there.
He's still there. We've still got some of the old guys hanging around.
Yeah, I actually kind of like Winston Peters. I think he's a little bit self-serving and a little bit vain, but he also says things that need to be said. But yeah, I've actually seen quite a bit of Australian politics rising to the surface of my feed lately. There was I think that there was a speech that Pauline Hanson made on International Men's Day that apparently everybody thought was offensive, but it was just about how men commit suicide more often than women, and this is actually a problem.
Yeah, but
by a factor of like 20 times, and people decried this as being.
Offensive.
Pardon?
Because Pauline said it, it's suddenly offensive.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, we've got this real social problem. There's 20 times the amount of male suicide as there is female suicide, and everybody's pretending like it's not happening, and everybody's like, that's misogyny.
No, that's math, which is racist.
I know Australians aren't noted for their math abilities, but come on.
Yeah.
Anyway, what were we talking about? Star Rail.
What were we talking about?
I will point out that this made me think of this. The most common variant of GIF shared is the Mika pointing GIF this week. That is all.
I have never at any point waifu'd Mika, but for some reason I just enjoy her presence in any conversation. But yeah. So the Star Rail preview. So this is the preview for Honkai Star Rail version 2.7, which is going to be the last version released of the 2.x series. The next one after it will be 3.0. So this is going to be the previews for what's going to be coming out in 2.7 and the sneak peek at what's going to be in 3.0.
What comes after Pinnaconii?
Yep. In the meantime, we're going back to Pinnaconii for one last time, it sounds like.
Have you seen the new Planet trailer that came out?
Can we get to it later?
Okay. I wasn't sure the order you were going.
I'm going to cover the content. So the first thing they covered is the thing that most people are always grasping at in a gacha, which is the new character. So, and I'm going to cover this roughly in order that they did. So the first thing they showed was Sunday. So Sunday has had an army of simps agitating for his release ever since he first appeared on screen. I am going to presume that this is mostly the female fan contingent. This is a broad assumption. I'm not quite sure how accurate it is, but it's the one that I'm going to choose in order to preserve my worldview. So he's going to be introduced as a imaginary element harmony path and is going to be basically the inaugural summon support. The interesting thing about him that makes him different from a lot of other harmony supports, other than his extra bonuses to characters who have summons, and this has been explicitly stated to include Jingyuan, to include Lingsha, and so on and so forth, that he is 100% single target focused, meaning that he is definitely built for a hypercarry meta. So even if he is the inaugural summon support, that he should be the must-have summon support harmony-wise would require a hypercarry meta. You can't have more than one damage dealer benefiting from Sunday. So that kind of constrains that a little bit, which, number one, it means that there are going to be other combinations where you have more than one summoner that he is not going to be as beneficial for. And number two, it leaves them room to later down the line create other support characters who play into a double DPS summon meta, which Sunday will not be the premier for. So yeah, it leaves them a little bit of room, and it leaves people a little bit of room to not treat him like he's going to be the be-all and end-all for summoner meta until the end of time. So yeah, they gave the rough details as they currently stand. It's still work in progress, of course, until the day that it comes out. That he's going to basically have a skill which is an immediate action advance to the top of the stack for his target, and a damage boost is attached to that. But they have made a special exception for that skill that if he uses it on a harmony character, it doesn't advance their action. So presumably this is to require you to not just play a really, really blind sort of hypercarry meta where you just exploit his abilities to stack all your buffs as fast as possible. But yeah, I don't know. If they put in a restriction like that, I presume it's because in testing they found something really, really broken that you could do.
Money's on Harmony Trailblazer.
Maybe boosting
infinite
his sister
movements or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
Boosting his sister to get her that last bit of energy, or
yeah.
Well,
the other thing is his ult gives crit damage increase, but it also gives energy.
Oh, that could.
So basically, I think that the reason that they've blocked it from being used on Harmony is probably because they have found infinite loops that would allow the opponent to never take any moves. If you can use it on Harmony, and whether that's involving Harmony characters that are currently exist, or maybe some designs that they've still got in the tank.
I wonder if in like Simulated Universe, Divergent Universe, like the Spore skill point ones, if you had like Sparkle and Sunday in the same party, with them able to constantly rejuice Sparkle if you played it on auto, Sparkle could keep your skill points up indefinitely, and they would just keep using their skill because the AI would break.
Right. Yeah. I guess that could be a thing. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like that when you've got a guaranteed skill advance to the top of the stack, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. Like when Sparkle came out, there were a lot of people playing some really freaking beardy Bronya teams because Bronya has an action advance as well. But yeah, so Sunday's going to be sort of the premier hypercarry for 3.0, hypercarry support for 3.0. Currently, this basically means he's a Jingyuan hypercarry, or for people who functionally worship Lingsha like me, it's going to be the people who are just like going all in on bunny damage everywhere.
Are those the only two summons that have had the
anything they've clarified? Anything appearing in that stack amongst character summons will currently qualify.
So does that mean anything that appears in the action order?
I don't know if it means anything that appears in the action order. It's the only ones that they've explicitly stated are the Fu ones that's summoned by Lingsha, the Lightning Lord summoned by Jingyuan, and Numbi. They're the only ones that have been clarified.
Your boy Numbi. Man, we're doing it. We're making Numbi hypercarry.
Numbi hypercarry.
Numbi is already hypercarry.
So yeah, I suppose if nothing else, that will finally allow Topaz to actually function as a hunt character, as opposed to being basically a Harmony support.
A vessel for Numbi to occasionally give skill points back and move Numbi.
Numby.jpg. Anyway, so while Aristotle indulges in his fantasies about Numby Nation, we'll move on. The other character that was previewed is Fugue. The version of the character previewed here is a little bit different to some of the leaks. So there's definitely been some things in the leaks, either that the leaks are not correct in certain respects, or there's stuff that they didn't reveal on this show, or the character's just gone through a lot of revisions. And it wouldn't surprise me if the character has gone through a lot of revisions, because Break as an archetype, if you haven't played it, you are constantly riding this line, this very fine line, where you have basically, there are two outcomes when you're playing a Break team. Either you do all of the damage, or you do none of the damage. So when you're making alterations to an archetype like that, you have to make sure you don't skew too far to one side or the other, where, oh, well, this is actually not helpful, or actually this means that on turn 1 you can end the battle without any effort whatsoever. So yeah, they've probably made a few changes. The Break is a has very narrow damage windows that result in extraordinarily high damage. So balancing it across multiple game types is kind of challenging compared to some of the other archetypes where the damage curve is a bit smoother. So yeah, it would not surprise me if this character goes through even more revisions before she comes out for reals in the end. So basically, as she currently stands, she is serving quite obviously as the Harmony Trailblazer replacement, because she has pretty much, she confers the bonuses that Harmony Trailblazer does, the ones that are really critical to the archetype anyway. And on top of that, she has she has a ability to, she's a Nihility character. She's fine Nihility, even though she's a support. She's in the Nihility mode, and this is basically justified by the fact that she gives the targets that she buffs on your team the ability to inflict debuffs, specifically defense down debuffs, as well as increasing break effect. And her ultimate is basically a element agnostic DPS one. There are other effects that have been listed at various points in the leaked ones. I don't know how many of those will stick by the end. Oh my goodness. High water start climbing. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that one. But yeah, I'm definitely pulling for Fugue. I may or may not pull for Sunday, depending on how I feel about the future of the summon meta. Like, he's going to be the only summon support for a while, probably. But there are a lot of characters that are previewed. So before we get into that,
before we get off Fugue and Sunday, something, this is a personal anecdote that I'm trying to keep an eye out for my, is a member, a fourth member for the Acheron and Friends temporary team. So Fugue sounds more lean towards Break than anything. But
she's really hard in Break. All of her passives are designed to interlock with other breakers.
Yeah. Basically, from the preview, because I haven't watched the character preview, do you think that her defense down she can let everybody do would let her fill that slot, or should I hold off for somebody else?
I think that basically all the rest of her fluff is not going to be that helpful to an Acheron team. I think that she's sort of like, much like the rest of the Acheron and Friends contributors, she's about as useful as all the rest. Like, she's off archetype, but she doesn't have no use.
Yeah, that's
the intention with everybody. Like, the same thing would apply technically to a lot of characters.
The reason I specifically ask about her is because she's Nihility.
I mean, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. She will fulfill the Nihility requirement, and she would. The thing is that the defense down is such a minor part of her kit. It's like, it's basically there to justify her being Nihility for thematic reasons.
Yeah,
rather than because she inflicts a lot of debuffs. Now, I don't know in terms of what things will be counted as debuffs and show up on the enemy bar. Basically, we never know that until the character's matured and ready to come out.
Okay. So.
Oh.
Because if you think about like Hanya, for instance, Hanya afflicts what is obviously a debuff, but it does not count as one.
Yeah, and then we have a Fire Kiss that at max stacks seems to give a flower petal.
Fill time for about 30 seconds. I need to make a quick dash to the bathroom.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, this is pretty, but probably spoilers.
This is a side quest.
Yeah, like we already knew that the sky was fake, so there's a hole in it.
Golly, how many spoilers have you looked up?
That was you guys who spoiled that one.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, you guys spoiled that one.
But
there's a lot of sides, just little bits of flavor text here and there and everywhere that are full of all sorts of spoilers.
yeah, they're big on
And
their.
some of it's even been in there since like 1.0.
Tuska is a very comfy explore the world character. Once my world level gets cranked up to the next world level, I will probably have to actually get an artifact set on her instead of the placeholder junk.
I would just like to say that Wanderer tells you that the sky is fake explicitly in those words in 1.0.
Yes, he does.
That's not us spoiling anything.
So, you guys more reminded me about that, but yeah, it's a spoiler for people, I guess, who weren't paying attention.
Don't worry, the manner at which that is a relevant story spoiler will still shock you.
Yep.
Anyway, so next thing that they previewed is that they're adding and this was in aid of the fact that the 2.7 is going to be a Trailblaze mission, not a Trailblaze continuance. So we're back on main story path now.
Oh, Fern, most of the puzzles up here require you to do the quest, so we should probably go back.
Yeah, I think we've kind of wandered a ways off target here. But I do want to get that point down there.
So basically they announced that they're adding a feature where when they do this type of thing, this is probably a one-off at this stage, but it's probably something they're going to do in the future as well, where you've got Trailblaze quest and then Trailblaze continuance for like 2 or 3 patches, and then back to a Trailblaze quest. They're going to insert an optional sort of like slideshow recap thing where they just recount what happened in the last main Trailblaze plot.
Oh,
just in case it's just been so long that you can't remember the fine details of where we left off.
There's a pogo point for that. In Gemshim this patch, with one of the optional quests, the big optional quest for the big giant zone that the people that were watching for some reason saw me flying around. You get kidnapped when you go to the Statue of the Seven, and it starts you on the quest. And as soon as the quest is in your log proper, it goes, "Would you like a recap of this?" Of the relevant story bits that'll be important here.
Talking about that on social media.
It is just like an image and literally the important bit that you need to remember, but they could easily expand it.
This is the quest that was the one that led up to this one, and this is what you accomplished, type of thing.
Yeah, just a reminder like that. They could easily build off of it to something like they're doing for Star Rail with that. It sounds like.
Yeah, the one there was like writing of all over it of like, this is work in progress. This is not necessarily what it's going to look like in the end, but it was basically, it looked like there was like key scenes from FMVs in that throughout, like this, like the one where you're falling from the sky and landing on Penacony, and then like key scenes with lots of characters, like the big standoff at the end of each chapter and that sort of thing. So, and this is in this climactic battle, these characters faced off against these characters, and this was the result. And then on to the next one, and this happened, and then on to the next one, and this happened, and yeah, and it's got. So I don't know whether they'll voice it. Maybe they'll voice it. They'll probably have a narrator or something. I don't know. But it's just sort of a catch up because it has been a while. We've done lots of things like attending the Olympics on the Shansho and that sort of thing, which have nothing to do with the main story. That it has actually been a long amount of chronological time since we were last doing the main quest. Like I knew that Black Swan had given us the name of where we should head next, but I could not remember what it was, for instance, because that was too long in the past. But yeah, so they'll cover that stuff. Anyway, so then they dropped us into the lore preview for Amphorius, the new planet that we're headed to. So Amphorius is sort of like it's like a very legendary, mythic type of location in the galaxy that is, or galaxy is actually the wrong word for it, because depending on the translation, sometimes it's universe, sometimes it's galaxy, sometimes it's world. Depends on who's doing the translation. Anyway, Amphorius is sort of like a very legendary type of place, which everybody sort of knows is kind of there, but Akavili was never able to get the rail out there. It was sort of there was some challenge was involved. The topic, shall we say, of 2.7 is apparently going to be Himiko essentially having everybody doing data gathering, to work out how we're actually going to manage this venture, and in the meantime, basically meeting up with Tingyun, who is trying to return home after her close encounter.
A proper preparatory pre-patch instead of zero hat tilt.
So where we were left off at the end of the previous major plot story before the academy was that we were on the Shansho and Welt and Himiko were not with us, and the reason Welt and Himiko weren't with us is that they were going out to do some other work. And while they were out there, they ran into Ruanmei, who had basically they mentioned earlier they mentioned earlier that they found the ship that, because if for those that don't remember, which is most people, Tingyun was a Makasada, or sort of like an ambassador, but with more marketing bent, I guess. And she disappeared before reappearing on the Shansho during the events of the Shansho Lofu, such as her reappearance there was. But so the ship she was on at the time that she originally disappeared was found, but there was nobody on it, and somebody had been there before, and that somebody was Ruanmei, and she had recovered Tingyun and had rehabilitated her, essentially. Being Ruanmei, she probably did it just to see if she could. But she basically rebuilt Tingyun from the ground up, on account of she was probably turned into pink mist by that point. And Ruanmei is basically a miracle worker. Like, everybody pegs her to be sort of like on the path to becoming an Aeon because of the sort of miracles she's able to pull off with biology. But basically, she was able to rebuild most of Tingyun's body, but her mind is still kind of a mess. And part of 2.7 is basically you playing a role and accompanying her as she tries to rebuild her sense of self. And that's going to take place in the form of a brief data gathering vacation on Penacony as you prepare for your journey to Amphorius. So what they deploy next after that is the sort of lore preview for Amphorius, which is pretty much gobbledygook at this point, more or less, give or take. There's lots of familiar motifs in images, but nothing concrete that interlocks with things that we know in a direct way. It's sort of a very Greco-Roman inspired aesthetic that we're looking at this time, whereas if we look at Penacony was Art Deco, Shansho was Chinese, etc. I don't know what you would say Belobog is. Like, it's got some sort of Russian in some places, but not exclusively. But yeah. So this is going to be
Northern European.
So this is going to be sort of actually I do get sort of a Polish Hungarian sort of vibe off some of their architecture. But this one is going to be definitely sort of Greco-Roman inspired. Like, they've got their own sort of legend of creation involving titans and gods and so on. And there are basically individuals who have sort of inherited those portfolios going forward into the future, etc. It's you can go and see it for yourself. I posted it a while back in the mobile games channel on the Discord. the trailer. It's about 3 or 4 minutes long, and it basically goes through in rough terms the creation myth. Now, what this particular sequence is, and is largely intended to be, is that it's absolutely pregnant with hints about various alternates and that sort of thing. Like, a lot of characters that appear look a lot like characters that we know from other Honkai properties. The most specific examples being Kevin Kaslana. There's a character who looks a lot like Kevin Kaslana, and what's her name? Miss Pink Elf, as she calls herself at times. Elysia. So Elysia is a very important character who I don't know much about because I'm not that far through the story in Honkai Impact 3rd, who most Honkai players refer to her as Honkai Jesus because she tends to break all the rules. But yeah, so there's a lot of hints of important characters. There's a character in there who looks a lot like Gilgamesh, which is going to be rough if they decide to introduce Gilgamesh to the story later as part of the Fate event.
Maybe he's set up for it.
I don't know, maybe they're the same person. Maybe he's actually Gilgamesh's alternate in this world. And we'll find that out, that actually the Fate world is one of the many worlds as part of the Honkai universe. That'd be interesting. There's
a lot more confusing.
There's actually a gratuitous amount of overlap between the lore of the Nasuverse and the Honkaiverse, particularly as far as the sort of the whatchamacallit, the way the world is, the cosmos at large is structured is relatively similar. You could draw some pretty strong parallels, especially if you put certain things down to theorizing. Like the pruning theoretical phenomenon and the function of the Honkai are almost the same. As that there's very little difference between the two, and the creators are fans of each other's work.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, maybe.
There's definitely room for you to mesh those together. And of course, we know for a fact that there's going to be a crossover event in 2025. As far as that's concerned, I'll talk about something that I thought was interesting about that a little bit later. But yeah, so Amphorius lore preview, if you're interested in seeing what we're looking at going forward as far as characters go. And they did what I refer to internally as the Tite Kubo maneuver, which is as soon as you are introducing a new faction or region, you introduce like 8 new characters all at once. And then you use some of them if you feel like it. But yeah, so they've already done this twice in the past with Honkai Star Rail. The first time was when they introduced the Annihilation Gang, who then never appeared, and then they introduced the 10 Stone Hearts, only 3 of whom have ever appeared. And now they've introduced these major movers and shakers from Amphorius, of which the only one that we know as a person is Aglaya. So to go down that road, the previews that we have received in drip marketing include, going forward, Aglaya, who is inheritor of one of the gods of Amphorius's sort of portfolio, and she seems to be a dressmaker. So you often see her depicted with mannequins and that sort of thing in the art.
Also, I think she's our first 5-star blonde.
I have not appraised carefully the hair colors of all of the individual 5 stars, but that may in fact be the case. So yeah, so she's going to be in the game, and the other one that they previewed is the Herter. And I say the Herter very specifically because that's the character's name. So Herter, as we know her, is Herter, and Herter, the human Herter, as opposed to the puppet Herter, is the Herter. And the preview blurb implies that she specifically requested to be addressed as such, because she thought being called Herter Prime or something like that would be kind of undignified and silly. So she
as
prefers to be
opposed
called the Herter.
the Herter.
Yes, so she is the Herter, and she's going to, of course, be Ice Erudition, just like the Herter that we know and love, the Kuru girl we know and love.
Or at least, Fern, this is back in the great.
I'm just kind of drifting from place to place. And,
Yeah, these great.
inevitably that way.
These gray crystals are the patch area.
So let's not be here. I got the waypoint. That's the main thing I wanted.
So there's heaps of hints in that is suggesting that Herta will be somehow involved in Emphorius directly or indirectly. They keep making her appear in like stingers to things as sort of somebody who is viewing what is going on. It's also implied that she'll put in an appearance in 2.7. So yeah, I'm as a Herta fan, I'm looking forward to seeing Herta. Herta is somebody that I have already assumed that I'm rolling for because I really like Herta. Or the Herta specifically. As far as her abilities go, nobody has any idea because she's not a summoner and she doesn't fit the break archetype and she doesn't fit the follow-up archetype. She kind of, sort of, you could say she's part of a, quote, ultimate archetype, unquote, but basically she doesn't fit any of the standard archetypes.
She fits the Kuru archetype.
She is the Kuru archetype. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing her. Her character design is gorgeous. Going to definitely be pulling for that one. So other content from 2.7, because those two characters are not going to be 2.7, they are going to be 3.0. The first major event that they previewed is the upgrades to the Astral Express. They are adding the party car, which is just sort of a loitering around region, but the most important part is this. The second part of the party car, the second floor, is Trailblazer's bedroom. Because Trailblazer doesn't have a room on the Astral Express. And it is sort of like implied, kind of jokingly and kind of not, that this was actually an oversight by the devs when they were doing their planning. That they never gave Trailblazer a room.
The Trailblazer lives in the dumpster. It's fine.
Y'all keep going. I just need to step away for a second.
So Trailblazer's bedroom is reputedly the largest bedroom on the Astral Express, except that it is not furnished at all. It's an empty storeroom, basically. And the first event is going to be the Cosmic Home Decor Guide, which is basically doing chores for Pom Pom in order to motivate him to give you the pocket money to furnish your bedroom. So yeah, it's not. They give a reasonably elaborate description of what this event entails on the previews, but I didn't really understand any of it at all. It looks kind of complicated. Like there's a part where you're sort of collecting cards and trying to get bonuses and doing chores, and then you have to have a meeting on the Astral Express with Pom and you'll rate your work. And I didn't really understand what was going on, but suffice to say, you'll be furnishing your bedroom. And it is an elaborate bedroom. I could live in a house that big. My goodness. Anyway, so that's the first event. The next event they previewed is called Between the Frames, and it is an event that is being put on by Mr. Wrecker on behalf of the Paperfold Academy, and it is basically a photography event where you and March 7th are going to be traveling around taking photos of stuff. Like they have photography events in Genshin all the time. This is probably going to be like that.
Yep.
They are making some changes to Divergent Universe. The usual, basically, there'll probably be an extension to the rewards ladder, and they are adding some more curios. They're adding some more awaited curios, adding some more equations, occurrences, that type of thing. And also, they are extending the lifespan of the saved loadout that you create. So when you do a run through Divergent Universe and you collect a bunch of blessings, you can save that run to use as your farming run to kill bosses to get planet ornaments and stuff. And the save that you create normally only lasts until the new week, but they are extending it to last in future until the next Divergent Universe extension, So basically, when you've got a really, really nice save that is really efficient for farming the boss you want to farm, you can keep it for several weeks rather than having to renew it every week and hope that you get a good one.
Okay. That's
Other
not a bad way to
changes
do it.
being made. Pure Fiction, I've mentioned some of these changes in the past when they were sort of like hinted at previously, but basically they're changing the structure of Pure Fiction so that you never have that situation where the boss is the only thing on field, and then you are stuck using AoE characters to fight a single target enemy. So mobs, regular trash mobs, will respawn infinitely, and
Mhm.
the mechanics are going to be replaced with the new grit mechanic. So the easiest thing for me to describe the grit mechanic to Aristeal would be to say that it is the event for the war dance, where over the course of the fight you build up points and then you enter party time, basically.
Okay, so does it have conditions on it like the ones in the?
Yes, and they will vary from pure fiction to pure fiction. What will fulfill those conditions and build you up to the climactic phase of the fight. So they haven't given any examples yet, really, but that's the rough structure of it. So basically, there will be some condition that you can fulfill, like, say, for instance, executing follow-up attacks or breaking a target or whatever, that will accumulate grit points, and those grit points will go into a pool, and then when you max the pool out, you'll go into your sort of burst phase, and then everybody will do a ton of damage with bonuses and stuff, and depending on the amount of damage you do during that phase, you can earn credit towards your next grit meter, and then you'll go back to accumulating grit. So overall, this I think is a good change because it adds some variation to the structure beyond the current one, because the current version of Pure Fiction is basically Memory of Chaos with more trash. And a lot of the time in the past, it has ended up being optimal to effectively use single target characters. Like, there were some rounds of Pure Fiction where I actually got way more performance single targeting with Fei than I did with my AoE teams. And they are essentially hedging against that. So yeah, the gameplay is now going to have diverged pretty significantly from Memory of Chaos, where before there wasn't much difference. They are making only one change to Memory of Chaos, but it's a relatively significant one. That is to say, they are going to allow you to start from floor 9 rather than floor 7 going forward. So you'll be able to skip a lot more of those earlier stages that aren't really relevant to your interests. And I think that this is about right, because the difficulty curve for Memory of Chaos is similar to the one in Spiral Abyss, where it's only really 9, 10, 11, 12 that actually matter.
And
so starting from 7 was always a waste of everybody's time. So yeah, they're making that change. Other stuff. Memory of Chaos, not Memory of Chaos, Gift of Odyssey. Gift of Odyssey will be back. It's back every patch, so this is not really an announcement, but everybody is always happy when it is, because that means, 7 pulls, 10 pulls, say. And the usual 113, 111, no, 112, 1113 pattern. So, yeah. Golden tickets. Everybody always appreciates them. Genshin could never. Well, they have in the past, like once. I don't know if they're going to make it a regular thing. Hopefully they do. But I wouldn't bank on it, because Genshin could never. They've also announced the 5-star regular 5-star selector for the next patch. Now, this is a topic of really hot debate online, and the reason for this.
Oh, did we just lose him?
the reason for this is where we left off on him. Wasn't me.
I think we may have just lost him then.
Yeah. We were having a few shoes with the Discord channel before the show, but it was both me and Vol that were affected last time, so I moved the server for this channel to US Central. I made it to the top. Bust out this. Cannot interact with the enigmatic page. So, see a show host blip. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this will not disrupt the recording.
Green. I'm in the green.
Okay.
Green
Hey,
is
there
back.
you
No,
are.
green is disappearing. It's flickering between red and green.
Okay.
It's not a good sign.
We can hear you again.
Right.
The thing about this is ellipsis. Silence.
So I'll back up a little bit because I don't actually know what you're referring to exactly. So they announced the 5-star selector, and this is a topic of hot debate. And the reason for this is that they announced the Remembrance Path officially, which is what Aglaya, who I mentioned earlier, is going to be a part of. And this is going to be the summoner archetype. Every character in the Remembrance Path is they are accompanied by a little gremlin who is called a memo sprite. What that is in lore terms, I have no idea. There is they previewed the Remembrance Trailblazer in drip marketing earlier this week, and it's basically like the bastard child of Pom Pom and a Sylveon is what
killer.
It
is what
it does look very,
Trailblazer will
very
have.
cotton candy.
Is what Trailblazer would have as a memo sprite. It is implied that memo sprites are just something Remembrance Path people have, as a general rule. And so, yeah, the mechanic for these is going to be basically for those that did the Friendship is Magic event, is going to be like that. But this has caused the 5-star selector to be a topic of hot debate because the standard 5-star list has no Remembrance characters on it. And everybody's like, should we just be holding on to this ticket? Because the 5-star selector is going to be valid until like 3.2. It's going to be valid from 2.7 to 3.2. So should we just hold it till 3.0 to see if they add a Remembrance character to the list? Certainly worth considering.
Yeah.
There's no leaks to suggest that they will as of yet. However, we don't know that they won't. So yeah, it's certainly a topic of debate right now. But yeah, it's interesting to see them add a whole new path. This is sort of like them adding Dendro later on in the history of Genshin. But how that will play out in terms of lore and characters going into the future, because memo sprites as a concept seems like it's something that's going to be tied to the Gardens of Remembrance, but they wouldn't probably want to constrain themselves too excessively to a particular time or place, but rather want to put lots of different characters on this path if the theme suits. So it's sort of interesting and wondering what they're going to do going forward. It seems probable that based on Harmony Trailblazer, it seems probable that Remembrance Trailblazer is likely to be quite a serviceable Remembrance character. Apart from Destruction Trailblazer, who's functionally a tutorial character, all of the other Path Trailblazers have had meta uses. Even though it might be hard for somebody now to believe that Fire Trailblazer, that whatchamacallit, Preservation Trailblazer was actually useful or meta once upon a time, they were.
Hey, don't knock baseball bat Trailblazers. She got me through that one event in the storybook, the storyteller event. That one node.
Storyteller event is something else. Yeah. Anyway, so they gave a couple of, and this is sort of a little bit. Oh, one more thing I want to mention about Memo Sprites is I think it would be really interesting if when they do the Fate Stay Night crossover, if they put all of them in the Remembrance path and have the servants actually be summons,
That would actually be kind of cool.
so that the characters are actually Fate characters, but the servants are summons. So I think that would be on theme, because the theory is always that you aren't in direct control of your servant, right? You at best can give them suggestions and hope that they cooperate for their own reason. But yeah, I think that would be interesting. I think it's doubtful, but I think it would be interesting. They gave a couple of pieces of sort of advice, which I'm really unfamiliar with hearing, so it was kind of surprising to me. But yeah, they gave some advice. To be specific, they said that they don't intend to add any new trace materials for existing paths in the near future. So if you see a new character that it's announced in the near future for a particular path, you can start farming one of the, if you can figure out which one it's likely to be, you can start farming the trace materials right away, because they're not going to introduce new ones and waste all of that farming effort. So yeah, that's one option that you have. They're of course going to introduce new ones for Remembrance, because there aren't any Remembrance traces yet in the game. But for other paths, like let's say you want Sunday, well, you're probably going to be farming the most recent Harmony trace materials for Sunday. So yeah, that's a useful piece of advice. You could always pick wrong. They might decide that, oh yeah, we're just going to go back to this really old trace material that nobody's used
If
for
Sunday
ages.
does not use the music note harmony trace material, I don't know what I would think of their motifing.
That would basically be trolling. Well, the thing is that you got to keep in mind that the musical note is the current one, right? But the other one is also a music box.
Oh no.
So yeah.
Although I'm sick and tired of that note. It's got TVs in it.
I don't have any trouble with TVs. I find that Acheron removes TVs. It's fine. But yeah, so that's one piece of advice. The other major piece of advice they gave was don't spend any more resin of your self-modeling resin. Just don't. Hold on to it until 3.0. And the reason why they're saying this is that they're introducing another type of resin that you will be able to do through some method that they haven't nailed down yet, an interconversion between the two types of resin. So they are going to have two types of resin, and they are also introducing a new item called the variable dice into the game. So 3 items, and these are all of a kind. So current resin is self-modeling resin, and self-modeling resin allows you to pick an item, to pick a relic from a particular set, and pick a primary stat and create that item. So they're introducing another type of resin called wishful resin, and the wishful resin, you can spend 1 to pick one of those substats to go with the primary stat. Or if you're really rich, you can spend 4, or the numbers subject to change, of course. You can spend 4 wishful resin to pick 2 substats for that to go with that primary stat of that particular relic.
Just in case you really can't get that crit damage, crit rate glove.
And then the variable dice, which they've given the least information on, probably because they've decided the least about it. Variable dice is going to allow you to re-roll substat boosts from the leveling process. So if you ended up with everything going on flat HP the first time round, you can take another shot at it using variable dice.
Let's you. Okay, I finally got the piece of gear I want. Flat HP of the last stat, but all the other 3 stats are really good. As long as we don't crap. It's to help mitigate that.
Pretty much. It's like when you get, attack percentage, crit damage, crit rate, and everything goes on flat defense.
Yeah, like even if it just landed on the attack, that would at least be a positive.
Anybody got a healer? I kind of need a healer.
I can turn to a Mualani so you can heal yourself.
I need to find something to bop to get my charge up. Yeah. Stuck on bags.
Okay. Water in the team.
Yeah. So I think it was nice of them to actually give us some information about that, so that because I can only imagine how enraged people would be if they just a new character comes out, like say they're farming for Fugue's set or something, they blow all of their resin, self-modeling resin on that, and then immediately after that, wishful resin comes out, and it's like, you're joking, right? You mean I could pick the substats as well? So I think it's nice of them to give a bit of a heads up. They haven't given any time frames on exactly which patch these are going to come out, and they gave basically no information whatsoever on the variable dice other than it exists. But I think that it's good to know that's coming down the line. So as per usual, Star Rail leading the charge on QOL.
Why is this fungus in a cage?
To keep it from getting out.
What beat up the? What did he do to you?
Tried to make me wet.
Anyway.
Oh my. Anyway, that's more or less the long and short of it, as far as what was announced in the previews for the next chapter of Star Rail.
Yeah,
Oh,
I did not watch the full preview event. I tend to take all the Hoyo games just as they come, and just whatever news crosses my eyes and news feeds, YouTube's, if it gets stuck in the recommends, and just
I follow Star Rail relatively diligently. I only look at whatever happens to cross my path for Genshin. I basically don't see anything for ZZZ whatsoever. And I don't understand how Honkai Impact Third works at all. So yeah, Honkai Impact Third is like 6 days away from the next patch or something like that, where Sparkle will come out, and I'm still furiously trying to put together enough resources to at least get to pity for Sparkle, even if I can't get her weapon this time round. At which point I'll probably stop playing the game. But yeah, I kind of want to get Sparkle.
Yeah, the only things I've got out of this are here are new characters. The new summon for Trailblazer is adorable. We're going to Greece, and summons, and Numby will be king.
You and your trotter. Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where we go. I'm definitely going to be pulling for Tingyan because I have a reasonably well built break team, and I don't want it to disappear because I need to move to a remembrance meta at some point in the future. So yeah, definitely going to be going there. I think it's going to be a wrench for a lot of people because many people have really bet the farm on the Harmony Trailblazer to structure teams around. So yeah, it's going to be rough. Although I think that you can, in my opinion, if you have Rapper instead, you can quite reasonably run double DPS break with just Ruan and sustain. I think that it's quite, if you've got Firefly and Rapper both, then I think you can run them side by side. And I've heard that the amount of damage lost is actually pretty trivial if you substitute Rapper in place of Harmony Trailblazer. I haven't spent any time testing it out myself, but it does seem like it might be the case. I suppose the only real disadvantage is that both of those guys can be quite skill point hungry unless you can get Rapper's energy regen really high, and energy regen ropes are
They're a pain in the butt to farm. It's FJ Squiggle.
FJ Squiggle, eh?
FJ Squiggle.
Let me
I
see if
can
figure this out.
see.
Starting from this one.
I can pick up what you're putting down, but Squiggle.
Or maybe the F and the
Nokia
squiggle.
Snake.
Maybe the F and the squiggle need to be flipped.
Okay, we'll give it a go.
I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyway, yeah, I did play some Honkai Impact Third this week, but mainly I've just been going through the story a little bit at a time, trying to get all of the shrapnel, the cast off shrapnel crystals to use to pull for Sparkle. The advantage of Honkai Impact Third, it's very demanding.
Oh,
There's not that many premium currency compared to Star
Right.
Rail, but there's no 50-50. When you hit pity, you always get the character you're going for. And the pity on signature weapons is hard pity at 60. It's not hard pity at 100. Hard pity at 90 or 80. It's at 60. Which is good because signature weapons are way, way more important in Honkai Impact Third. Anyway, that's it for my week.
okay. Well, it would probably give us stuff to talk about if I followed the Honkai or the Hoyoverse news more closely. I just kind of like playing the games and taking them as they come out, and just whatever news crosses my feed, cool. The only thing that has just penetrated my my nonchalantness has been the Mavuika leaks, because people will not shut up about her.
I haven't seen an uptick, but maybe I've just been seeing the same sort of level that you have up until now. I guess what you're seeing is probably the ones that people now find credible, because I've seen all of the stages leading up to credible as well.
Yeah, I'm getting the ones with video evidence.
Yeah.
Well, CBT is running now, so you can actually get video evidence, whereas before it was sort of like even more rarefied leaks. And the creator server will be up soon, so the content creators will be collecting their material under embargo to be released when the patch releases, which has Mavuika and Zitlali in it.
So,
Because they have a program where content creators have a special server which goes up before the launch so that they can collect data to do their reviews and guides. And surprisingly, this is not in any way contingent on positive coverage.
Oh, there's a first.
yeah. So okay. I guess we'll talk about my week. There ain't much of it. In fact, there's barely a week at all. This week, as I mentioned before, was a combination of one of the busiest weeks at work I've had all year, and even when I'm
It's about Chaska.
yeah. Well, Chaska was built up entirely today.
Well, I'm talking about the fever dream which led you to pulling for her to begin with.
Oh yes. But so yeah. And normally that's not enough to stop me from at least just chucking some dailies out, making some progress on the accounts. I had enough gas 2 days between being sick and the overloaded work to do dailies, and I just could not at all Monday through Friday this week. It was a terrible week in terms of just amount of bullcrap going on. I'm dealing with stupid people, stupid customers, people flipping out in the office.
Stupid marsupials.
Mm-hmm. Scream and play dead. I got a tutorial for this thing, so I must not have.
What does it do? I don't understand.
There you go. Oh no, there it is.
Yep. That one's squiggle. Get that one to squiggle. Just go mash the one we can't find.
I can see what it is.
It's yeah. This one is squiggle. It's squiggle squiggle. There's 2 squiggles next to each other.
What about this one?
Squiggle squiggle. That one's right.
Ah!
That's.
Hello,
Where
bad
did
guy.
you find that?
It found me.
Hang on.
Followed me home.
Right.
That's probably just messed up everything now.
Yeah, it's I'll solve the puzzle.
Oh, thank you, Ahau.
Don't thank him. He'll get a big head.
He's already got a big enough head as it is, I suppose. Yes.
So
Anywho,
yeah, so this week, unfortunately, there's basically nothing to talk about. No single player games at all. Just a whole lot of nonsense at the office, up to and including the stupid startup getting rescheduled again.
startups.
What was the first date?
August the 7th or something in that ballpark.
And now it's what, the 4th of December or something?
December 12th.
But why though?
Because they're bad at their job.
This guy's really
Yes.
this guy is terrified of me whenever I call him on the telephone. He is clearly a youngin who has never had to deal with somebody telling him, "Look, you done goofed." That on me. So yeah, being sick did not help anything. It led to bad decisions called pulling for Chaska. And yeah, it's just I'm ready for this week to move on to the next one. This one was man, not in a good mood all week. Logged on to Final Fantasy very briefly. One day, Abe wanted to do some front lines, and the other day was Dalamud finally finished its giant update. And I don't care about making Yoshi cry anymore, and I wanted my my stuff updated and working. So I logged in and got my plugins all sorted. There wasn't much sorting to do, but log in. In Gemshim, the Chaska surprise, if I had been farming, would have adjusted my my weekly plans, but it did not come until well into the 6th, setting in later in the week. So yeah, that didn't really do much. Can I pop these intro, or do you?
Don't know actually.
No, I can.
You go.
You can break the rock ones. Okay. Right. But yeah, I literally got nothing. I was dead all week. I felt terrible. I was worked all week. There was no video gaming. There was no really watching anything. I was laying in bed, consuming brain rot and linking it to people.
Yeah. Being sick is the worst. Anyway,
So,
in that case,
there's one
nothing
piece of
else?
brain rot that sticks out with me. If you're flying through the desert and your boat gets a flat tire, what should you have in your pockets?
What?
Blue. Ice cream doesn't have any bones. Then Nahida looks at the camera and goes, "Yes."
What the hell?
I'm illustrating to you just how far gone my brain was this week.
Why do you know exactly what that thing says?
I watched it many times. I was laying in bed and could not move.
Kind of surreal.
I don't know. I thought Skittles in the skillet was bad.
Oh, the other one is a brain rot of Nahida looking up Mavwika and asking why there's so much porn. I found this way too funny.
Got that link.
Yeah,
and it's not inaccurate. Because the internet's going to internet.
There's a Culus up here.
Ooh, Culus.
We're gliding on it.
Man, bad guys over here.
Oh, you're losing health. We should probably.
All right. In that case, is there really any news?
No, I wish I had anything to give you guys, but I don't. So I've been piggybacking off these things.
Yeah. The biggest thing I've seen this week has been people screaming about how the Game Awards are a sham and all of that, but it's the same thing.
Really?
Yeah, it's the same thing
Really?
that gets every year.
It took till now for you to figure this out.
Yeah. But no, we get.
I
these
was mainly surprised at
transitions
just how, like, I was surprised at how bad the nominees were. Like, there are plenty of more interesting games released this year than the ones that they nominated.
Yeah, and
Gonna
yet
block
it's
you.
still not as bad as I was expecting. Honestly, I was expecting Dustborn to turn up on there somewhere.
Like, why was Star Wars Outlaw up there?
Because Ubisoft money.
You know, I got
Like a disaster.
It was an absolute mess. But Ubisoft has money.
No, they don't.
Well, no, they don't actually.
They're in deep financial trouble.
Doesn't stop them spending it.
The real answer to that question is they're French.
They are French. And yeah, we do know that Jeff Keighley likes to give exposure to his friends.
You know, until
he doesn't exactly hide
which is why Pecora is on the list.
Wait, really?
Because well, in my opinion, because whatchamacallit, Metal Gear guy, what's his name?
Oh, Kojima.
Kojima is a massive Pecora fan.
Okay, because yeah, I was thinking, why is Pecora there? She's
not new. She hasn't done anything particularly remarkable compared to normal this year. However, there's nobody that Kojima will bend over more for than Kojima. Nobody Keighley will bend over more for than Kojima.
Cool.
He's very interested in nurturing that relationship.
Well, there are a few people who are more autistic artsy fartsy than Kojima in the greater games industry. At least when it comes to Japanese developers, which is bonus points because that's exotic.
But Kojima's famous for having like Pecora figures and stuff.
Yeah.
I had a passing thunk when I saw the Game Awards freaking out, but I'm not paying much attention to it. I'll reserve my opinions for myself, although I imagine they will match the mass sentiment pretty close of this is terrible.
We'll have a Rantathon to go through all that stuff for anyway.
Is Rantathon this year? I thought it was.
If it is, I haven't planned for it.
No, we haven't done anything because we are professionals.
Yeah, I thought it was only every 100 we did a Rantathon.
Yeah, okay.
So
I honestly lost count.
We might do a longish show for the Game Awards, but we don't have to make it a full.
I mean, it's an annual tradition to pee on the Game Awards.
Yeah, so
or poop specifically, given your chosen graphic.
Yes.
But let's not. But
3 minutes in Photoshop produced that.
But yeah, so we have. I had a thunk. Like, what if the reason they're allowing DLC is because the games were so crap this year, they need Elden Ring to bail them out of some categories?
Well, I don't think that that's really the case. I don't think that's necessarily the case. There are plenty of games that sort of make the grade, considering how low the grade is for the Game Awards. It's just that those ones didn't get nominated.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good games that came out this year, but they're also for very niche audiences. And the Game Awards doesn't do niche.
It's the thing that was lacking this year was that the mass market slop was incredibly bad. Yeah,
exceptionally bad.
Like the AAA market just died to death. They were 100% when this year opened up. They were 100% expecting to be giving half the rewards to Concord.
Yes. And they didn't want to give any awards to Stellar Blade, and honestly, I'm personally of the opinion that Stellar Blade's kind of overrated, but never mind that.
Well, I mean, it's reacting. It's a reaction.
It's very reactionary.
Yeah. I cannot tell you a dang thing about the gameplay because the reason people talk about that game is in the field of woke and overly censored games, we have booty.
Yeah, it's all about. They all talk about the boobs and the butts, and don't talk about the game. Really,
people are starving for the booty. I've heard that it's a reasonably competent action game.
Yeah, I've heard it's reasonably competent, but not going to set the world on fire.
Yeah, but
Well,
I mean,
it
what
did.
else is there? Like, is there anything that's woke and is incredibly competent? No. The more
No.
woke it is, the more incompetent it is. So, in fact, Booty is actually the pinnacle of what you're going to get right now.
Oh man, Jade Doe must be the best character of the year then.
Well, that's why ZZZ is on the awards list.
With the jiggles. They make everything jiggle, therefore best jiggle physics.
Jane is very proud of her booty.
Even the robot jiggles.
Like, I am not what I would classify as a butt man, but I did watch her slow walk quite a bit in that side story she's got, largely because I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I have her as my main on-fielder. I get to see a whole lot more than that all the time. They want me to tell you the pattern. Okay, starting from triangle. Okay,
hang on, give me a sec. Whoops, no, wrong character. Because I need a bow guy for this.
It is
Actually, let's bring out Big Ups. Let's have a look at him.
It is box with a line over it, squiggle squiggle, from left to right.
Box with a line over it, squiggle squiggle. 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 There we go.
Continue to entertain the.
Oron has some boots. Look at this.
Well, press and hold A. No jump button. Whatever your jump button is, press and hold it.
Yeah.
He's got.
Now I can just stay up here.
Yeah, he's got moon shoes.
He got moon shoes.
I mean, not quite as impressive as the flying
Gun.
revolver, but moon shoes are cool.
Moon shoes are cool. And you can get some big ups here.
Yeah, if you want a trip to the dentist or whatever, I guess.
Well, yes.
So
I wonder how much the medical and dentistry industries profited off of the invention of moon shoes.
they probably saw at least like a 10% uptick when moon shoes were in fashion. Because kids will always find ways to hurt themselves, so it can't have been that. If it wasn't moon shoes, it would have been someone else.
Moon shoes significantly greased the rails.
They probably gave a noticeable uptick.
Like, you don't need any work to get yourself from moon shoes to an injury.
No, it's going to happen. All right. Other bits of game newsy that we saw is they announced Final Fantasy 14 Mobile.
Okay, this
ask me if I care.
It's Realm Reborn.
What was my reaction
on mobile?
Reaction to this was no Zuyuan. Was my reaction to this.
It was one of your mini gifts for the week.
I became very addicted to that guy's cute little character designs.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you want to go back and play Realm Reborn with modifications and on a tiny screen, there you go.
You know, if it was something like you could do the simple in-town stuff or the mini games or something, I could almost get behind that.
Yeah, if it was...
I don't give a crap about replaying ARR.
It's just a catastrophic waste of resources. They aren't even planning to monetize it in any significant way.
It's not even coming out in the West initially. It's coming out in China first.
It's just going to be there as a thing, and that's about it.
I don't understand the point. Like, this is not even going to serve a promotional purpose. It's just a pointless, expensive vanity project.
It would have been nice if it was like something you could hook into just a small mini game or something on the phone that you could get hooked back into your main account with.
I think in all likelihood, somebody from the C-suite probably just demanded Yoshi to produce a mobile title. End of story.
And
they wanted Realm Reborn Classic or something because WoW did it.
I can think that, and I also wonder if Squeenix as a whole's funds right now are probably down quite a bit.
Oh, they are.
If that was the case, they would be monetizing this as a gacha, but they're not. They're not monetizing it at all to speak of. It's probably just going to have a little bit of cosmetics and that's it.
I wonder... That it's so weird that they didn't monetize it, because the fact that it's coming out for the China market says you want that China money at first. But then, because there's no way this is going to latch in the West. Nobody's going to care about those.
No one's going to care about it, no.
And but surely it's because the higher ups made you want the China money, but there's no monetization.
So, what's this for?
Yeah, that's the rub.
Yeah, like Yoshida just says the usual Yoshida things. Oh, we want more people to experience the story. Well, it's not really an experience on a screen that small, is it?
It's also not the best
It's-
part of the story. It's Trey returns to the Waking Sands ad infinitum. At that point,
there's
in
a
the game.
reason that most mobile exclusive titles are more toys than games, and it's simply because there's only so much you can do with that much real estate. The experience of a phone game is just different.
Yeah, as
Well,
is the audience.
Oh, Fern, I pulled an elite spit scorpion.
Oh no.
My Chaska in her terrible gear is not going to be scorpion.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
where
we'll
are
just
you?
fly away.
I could just fly.
You magic. You're magic.
You have a gun, fly away.
I will cannot run. It's not the proper role of a peacekeeper. It is to pull your revolver out and shoot the problem, no matter how ineffectual that may be.
Well, just keep at it. It'll die eventually.
Maybe try a smaller revolver.
So yeah, I don't know who this is for. I don't know why resources are dedicated. Maybe it was a pet project of some small group in the office that really should be reallocated to a few other things.
Well, the thing is that if it's coming out in China first, that suggests that it's made by a Chinese subcontractor.
Yeah, I genuinely don't know who greenlit this and what the idea was.
Tax break? I don't know.
You get this precious chest over here I got for fighting the big scorpion, Fern?
The precious one? No, there it is over there. Okay. Whee. So yeah, it's a thing. It exists. It's not even vanilla classic Realm Reborn either. It's Realm Reborn with some modern mechanics and then probably horrendously simplified. So yeah.
So
I don't
they
know.
can pray return to the waking sands so they can kill Titan for the nth time.
They put that in the trailer and every long-term player twitched.
There we go. Just had to break all the rocks to make it open.
I need an anime character.
While the giant curly thing is coming for us.
Is there a story behind that thing?
There is. I forgot what it was.
It popped up in a tutorial. It's just a predator or something.
No, it's got a side quest that details a little bit about it.
Whee!
I don't know what's up here. I don't know why this exists. Oh,
platforms. No! I hate the invisible platforms.
That thing stinks.
Yeah, don't use that. Alright, RP walking's a thing. So yeah, that's a thing that exists. Also, the thing that exists is Monster Hunter Frontiers. Not Frontiers. They announced it a couple of weeks ago, and I'm drawing a blank on it. Not Wilds. They've announced a new one.
That's right. A new mobile one, isn't it?
Yep, it's open world survival, and I'm going to say that because it's probably just old school Monster Hunter. But yeah, it's also on phone. So, yay! It uses Gen 4 monsters, so that's something. But yeah, it's why?
Because the handheld market is basically dead in the water right now.
The handheld market is basically dominated by Hoyo right now.
Well, that's the phone market. The mobile market seems to be entirely dominated by the Switch. That doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of room in that.
No, even though Sony's put out their
yeah, I almost linked that article, but there's so little information on it right now that I don't even have speculation for it.
No, it's just like they're working on a handheld, but they've done that multiple times over the years. Until we have something more concrete, there's not really a whole lot to talk about.
They just released freaking streaming device again.
Yeah, every time since the PSP, they did the Vita, which was it was weird.
The Vita was fine after forever. The problem was the Vita didn't have anything at launch, much like the PS5.
And as
Nobody
soon
knew
as it
what
was
to develop
fine,
for it.
they discontinued it.
Yes. By the time it was starting to get in its stride.
Yeah, and even then, I say it had good games, but they weren't marketable games. They're not crap you can make money off of. It was just a whole bunch of niche JRPG products that you
Yeah.
normally wouldn't get access to if the Vita didn't exist. Okay, cool, I guess.
So it's just, I don't have zero confidence in this product, honestly.
Yeah, I don't trust Sony on a good day, and I sure as heck don't trust them with that.
No. Especially since we're going to have the Switch, the successor to the Switch, announced sometime probably in the next 12 months.
Yeah, although I think Nintendo, yeah, they're starting to run out of how long they can ride that gravy train. They probably could stretch it if they wanted, but it'd be in their best interest to start working on whatever's next.
Yeah. So.
Oh, that's a Q-less up in those branches.
Yes. I'm going to niche it.
Eat it.
I'm going to niche it. So, yeah, whatever Sony puts out, it's got to be able to beat Nintendo on their home field.
Well, it doesn't have to beat it, but it has to offer some level of competition to it, and I just think Nintendo's got that locked down.
Yeah. And what Nintendo doesn't have locked down, Steam Deck does.
If we were talking about like Sony at the height of their competence, they might be able to put out something that could at least make a profit. I don't think they can do that with their current level of.
No.
But they could release Concord Mobile.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Wouldn't be the first time they threw millions of dollars away on that IP.
No. In that case, I think that is actually it. Let me see. A quick skim here, but I don't think there is actually anything else.
I didn't see anything when I was doing one before the show.
Yeah, we're going to get a big dump of new trailers and stuff for the Keighley Awards.
Yeah, so I think
also the other big thing that kept popping up this week is Keighley trying to trademark the Game Awards.
Lol, I remember seeing that.
I don't think that's going to stick.
He might be able to get the full title, the Game Awards, as a specific title.
Even if he gets it, I think that the first time he tries to actually get somebody on it, it will probably get thrown out.
Yeah, it would have to be
way too generic.
It would have to be an egregious case where aspects of the show are copied wholesale as well for him to.
Like they use their particular design of trophy or something.
Yeah, like the entire structure of the show would have to be the same. Like that, it would. You're not gonna be able to defend that.
Have to bring Kratos' voice actor up on stage. What's his name, Teal'c, in order to
sell a few more Steam Decks.
Extremely long and rambling drunken speech.
Yeah, here's a celebrity that nobody's seen in the last 20 years, and they're drunk and got no clue what they're doing here. So yeah.
That's Nick.
Oh well, we'll see. Like the Game Awards are always cringe, but it's not the good, fun kind of cringe anymore.
Yeah. So I think I like the plan of doing a long-ish show for the Game Awards, since it's not a rant-a-thon year. But
okay.
We'll just write it if we want to keep going because we just have the gas. We can, but we'll just do that on the week of Game Awards and call that our end of year event this year. It's going to be a very busy end of year for me, so I don't know if I've got the gas to set up and then do a full Game Awards. And I do not know what my schedule's looking like.
There's they released a new the demo of a new Dynasty Warriors apparently, which is of course called Dynasty Warriors Origins because eventually you have to release an iteration of your IP called Origins for some reason.
It's the rules.
Yeah, East did it.
Everyone's done it.
I mean, Dragon Age didn't even wait until there was a franchise. They made it their first one, which I suppose makes a certain kind of sense.
Yeah, the series starts here. There you go. Incidentally, there's only 3 Dragon Age games now.
Yeah.
It reached that point.
I have seen people vigorously trying to defend Veilguard
Yeah,
on the YouTubes.
I haven't seen anybody willing to defend it. Nobody wants to be seen with it in public.
it's bad along every axis, that game. So yeah, like there were a lot of defenders initially, but they've kind of faded away.
Oh, we have no patch elements. That's why my Chaska's not doing anything.
We have none, no.
I'm like, why in the heck am I doing so little damage to this thing? Oh, we have 0 patch elements.
Because you like the color teal.
So yeah. Reliable, much more reliable gun that comes in an umbrella.
Yes. A gunbrella, if you will.
Guerrilla warfare, I guess.
There is a Culus select on the map, and I want Stit. I'm not sure I can actually get at it.
There is 2 very long quest chains in this area, 3 very long quest chains in the desert. This was their patch holdover content in Sumeru era. So
we're not talking Aranara long, I hope.
No, they're probably as long as Aranara, but they're much less obnoxious.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something.
Yeah, like the
instead of scattered randomly across the entire landscape.
Yeah, the King Deshrite quest does have a zone-wide bonus objective you can complete, but it's not tracked in a little booklet, I don't think, or anything like that. And
just do the quest.
It's very easy to ignore and not going to.
I love how an entry in the quest log is not enough for Aranara. You have to have a quest book just for Aranara.
Just for Aranara, yeah. Actually, that's one thing minor thing that's getting me about the Subaru quest is they're terrible at naming things.
I mean, it's Sumeru. We're in India, Egypt.
Yeah, India, Egypt.
India,
but they didn't even bother to call the give King Deshrite civilization a name. It's just the King Deshrite civilization.
Civilization of King Deshrite.
Or the King Deshrite language. Also, canned knowledge. It's like, yeah, okay, that's exactly what it is. But couldn't you have
that is going to be very important in the implications for later in the story.
I think I'm getting back to that point already.
As a concept, there is such thing as knowledge that is not good.
Yes. It makes people go crazy.
Aye.
Oops, I went too far on that one. Take that. Yeah, but it's
you're double hitting for some reason.
Because Claymore probably, and the Sealy's doing.
Oh no, this is fun. Okay, you have to. This is not a normal one. The ones around it change as well when you mash it. The ones to its left, the ones to its left and right will change when you pop it.
Why?
Oh, this is fun. Okay, that one doesn't seem to change. These 2, you might have to get with.
Oh, it has changed.
I remember seeing Fauna say that she hates that puzzle type, and Bibu said, no, but I love those puzzles.
Oh no, the Sele is changing them.
Yeah, the Sele changes them.
Oh also, my. Friend.
Yeah, I'm not going to do this now. Can each why?
So you want to stop at one before each one and follow the Sele behind it.
But I'm not entirely sure they're actually on a fixed loop.
They are. Unless this one is uniquely special, they are.
But yeah, they're a pain, the ones with the Sealy.
I don't mind those. But once you know the gimmick, they're just type of puzzle out here.
It's just figure out what's in the order before it. That's still a nuisance. I'll worry about it later.
I mean, the game does have to ask you to do something to get your treasure.
It do.
It is a precious chest, and it's not that obnoxious. I will defend this
It's
puzzle
annoying
type.
enough, and I can't brain right now. Anyway, we should wrap up.
Yep. All right. I guess we will see y'all next week. I think Zarathus said he got Yanagi, and I will check the email.
Email.
You're professional like that.
To be fair, he seems to only listen to like the first 10 minutes of the show before deciding we didn't check the email. And this is not something that is totally unreasonable.
Yeah, because we will usually say we have an email. But no, we do not have an email this week. So there you go, Zarathus. You can tell us about your experience with the Yanagi because
I was going to build her first with the ZZZ demanding resources.
Get there one day. Oh dearie me. All right. Turn to counting the number of times that Rocket Boo jumps. All right, folks. We will see you next week. Sayonara. Bye-bye.